Woo wee! Seems like it's been forever, but we're back on the air. Outlaw Radio. What it do? What it do? Live from the basement. It's your man Kevin Barnes, the mayor of Chocolate City, man, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer, moving and shaking on a Monday evening, man, with the homie, my brother Rail. What's popping with you,
Chilling, man. Blessed to be here. Everything going with you?
man? I can't complain, and even if I did, who would care, right? So I don't
Right.
complain, man. I don't even complain. But man, oh man, oh man, oh man, last first of all, shout out to Sean Moore. Shout out to everybody who supported that show last week. Sean Moore came on, dope ass interview, dope ass conversation, in which we just really talked about the state of affairs in the community, with us, our people. 262-202-5131 is the number. If you want to call in, it is scrolling slowly across the bottom of the screen, along with the Cash App. Hit us up, share the show, let people know. I know we're all people like, when is the show on? I guess I got to do a better job of promoting it again. But we have a group of people who support us and they know when we're on. So I guess I just take that for granted. So, but anyhow, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. We had a long layoff. What you do, man? What did you get into over our little hiatus?
Man, same old, trying to get my TikTok views up to try to hit that 1,000 so I can start going live
Show on.
and so I can start going live promoting my book. Same old.
Right. So you can actually go live on TikTok. I don't know. I'm a TikTok newbie. See, I'm on it somehow. I don't know. I think somebody put something up and I followed it, so they added me, so it's on my phone now. It's like you put me
Okay.
in the Clubhouse joint, and I went on there one time
Okay. Yeah.
briefly, and I was just like, it's like I don't even know where I'm supposed to be at or what I'm supposed to be listening to. So, but you're trying to blow your TikTok up. Give the people your TikTok information.
Higher frequency. HIGHERFREAKUENCY. The same business name, but higher frequency on TikTok. Just discussing things that help elevate people's consciousness, let them learn emotional intelligence. I dropped something today about how self-love is your superpower because it prevents you from putting up with anything. A lot of people kick it with people just for the sake of not being alone, but when you actually love yourself and enjoy your company, you can decide to only kick it with people who bring value to your life with their presence.
Okay. Man, I hear so many conversations about self and self-love and self-maintenance and all these different kinds of insights and information on how to really improve the inside, because I think for so long we've been worried about the outside, especially us black people. We like to look good even if we don't feel good. So I think this is very, very
Right.
inspiring that a lot of people now are saying, well, hold on, let's take a look at what's powering this machine. You gotta keep the motor fresh. Like, you gotta change the oil, your oil filters. You gotta get your spark plugs tuned up, all that good jazz. So I like what you do with the books and with the 12 steps to becoming your own dope. All that kind of higher frequency thinking is something that
I
I'm.
appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. No doubt. No doubt. You outlaw for a reason, my brother. T.R. Arthur said, good evening, Kevin Rail. Yes, good evening,
Get
T.R.
it.
Arthur. How you doing, my sister? Y'all go back and check out them archive shows, man. I seen Claude Motley and the sister Santana Coleman getting a lot of love for winning that Emmy for Claude Got Shot. Check their interview out on my page, man. It's in the People's News
Right.
Network. It's on YouTube on our page. Great interview, man. And we got them, with no polish, no handlers, nobody saying don't say this, don't do that. So Claude gave his story from, I mean, it's real. When that brother's on the show talking about flying down Capitol, trying to get to Sherman and getting to the hospital, and it's a crazy, crazy story. So check it out. And I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if they've changed the way now since it's won an Emmy, because they keep it under wraps. Like, you can't just see it, right? Like, so they've been trying to offer it as, well, let's have a screening at whatever, organization that you have. But shout out to them, man, for the Snoop Dogg backed Emmy winning documentary when Claude got shot. But man, oh shit, check us out. Wednesday night we'll be back. I know the Packers got their ass kicked yesterday. We're still gonna bring back the the big black sports show. I don't nobody think because they got their ass kicked. Well, I guess Kevin them ain't gonna talk about sports now. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it, right? And I'm gonna talk. We're gonna talk about football fans tonight, man, because this shit get crazy. It gets crazy. So we'll talk about that. But man, to start it off, bro, the queen is dead. The queen is dead. Shout out to Sharina Lynette. I see you, my sister. She says self love. How can you love if you don't love yourself? Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactamundo. But no, the queen's dead, man. I mean, are you over it? Have you healed up? Do you need some support, brother? Are you gonna be okay? Queen is dead.
Are you asking me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Talk
Oh
about
man, fuck. Well, I ain't gonna say fuck. It is a life. I hope her family all the strength and healing they need. But man, nah, she was rich off of people's suffering and and shit. Like they broke down how all her jewelry is stolen from different countries and shit. Like I honestly believe she was dead a minute ago. The Pope just had to pull his trigger first, because he just bust a move to where I think all the royal riches or some shit are now like property of the Vatican or something. He just bust some kind of chess move, and
it. Okay.
then they announced her death. So
Right. Right.
I'm a conspiracy theorist to the core. I
I
still
see. I
think she was
see. I
probably a
see.
lizard.
Right. Right.
Lizard queen.
So, yeah. Listen, no, you know what? You're absolutely right. Me personally, I'm not one to disrespect the dead on any level, right? Like when they go rest, let them rest. I believe in that. But at the same time, let the truth be told about who that individual was and what he or she actually represented. So we'll take it all the way
Right.
back. What does the monarchy in England, in Great Britain, what does that represent? Right? We know what it represents, right? When you talk about a lasting monument to colonialism, to a time when it was absolutely racist, classist, elitist people, and if they're telling you I'm born of royal blood. I'm cut from better cloth than you. I deserve to be above you socially, socioeconomically. You can't even like it's certain things you can't even do that I can do because I'm royal blood. That's such a antique philosophy, right? So yeah,
Man.
what's she 96? 96, so long.
96. She
Right.
lasts long. She lasts a long time considering all the fucking inbreeding that you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they are tight knit, like even from the czars of Russia and Scotland, like they're all still like one small ass family that was fucking with each other. So she 96 years with all them fucked up chromosomes. She did pretty
Well,
good.
I think you have to understand that 96 years means she was instrumental. If we go back 50, 60 years, what was the plight of people of color 50, 60 years ago, right? She was in power at this time. She had been in power for, a while, right? Like, so here's the deal. Look at Africa. Look how England has pillaged Africa. There's actually a situation where there was once a conference where these European powers sat down and divided up Africa. China and it's like Asia, Japan, whoever, everybody has a piece of Africa except for Africa,
Right,
right?
right.
You know what I mean? So when I look at her, I say, okay, so people say, was she racist? Because she have been racist, and it's amazing to me now
Yeah,
we are not socially aware enough to say that's a no-brainer. I mean, it's
right.
in her to be, she's bred to say I'm better than certain people. Look no further than what's the sister name, Meghan Markle, who ran off with the little, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
grandson, prince, whatever he was, got their ass smooth removed from the kingdom. They tell we gonna leave and go back to America. I bet you is. Bet you is gonna leave and go back to America, right?
And then
So
how black was she? Like, wasn't she like an octoroon or something? Like, I mean, how close? Like, how many? Who was black in her? I know somebody was black because the queen was worried about having darker
right,
grandchildren.
right.
That's what they were saying. She was worried about having darker grandchildren, and they were saying she didn't even allow black people to work in the palace or something until like the 60s or 70s or some shit like that. So
Rick Ross just went his ass over there and couldn't get in.
I mean, it's Rick Ross though, you know.
Open the door. I got some wing stop.
Right, right.
We got
You know,
thighs
popping
now.
mollies in their chalice.
We got thighs now. No, but here's the deal. I think Meghan Markle's either her mom or her dad was black, and I'm not no
Was
expert
full
in
black.
this, man. I believe so. It's in there
Oh,
enough
okay.
where you see her and you say, "Nah, that's it's some sister in there." And but you don't have to look any further than that. And this is just recently, right? Like, I mean, like you stated, if somebody is in possession of millions of dollars worth of stolen merchandise, but they don't hide this shit. Every gathering, every press conference, they got your shit on. It's like somebody stealing your
Right.
jewelry and then being on the news with it on. Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, yeah, like, yeah. God bless the dead, right? I would say. But no, black people, we're totally don't give a fuck about the queen dying, honestly. And I once again, all due respect to anybody who's passed away, who's lost someone, because there's way more people who in our city are going through some violent situations that I feel more remorse for. We got a sister who's just killed by a hit and run on Fond du Lac. Like I'm feeling more sad about that than I am about the queen, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that whole thing represents kind of like an evil empire to me. What is it? Because they don't necessarily govern the country. What is their purpose? They've been allowed to exist. They've been allowed to, and people like, yeah, well, that's the queen. And it's like, and over here, especially for black, we like, we don't give a fuck about no shit, like because we don't even understand it. Over there, it means Buckingham. My daughter's in England right now. She just went to Buckingham Palace. Matter of fact, she got there the day the Queen died. Right, so she's over. Yeah, you think it was safe? Like no. Shout out to my baby girl. She's studying abroad, man, until December. She's in England. Paris LaShawn said, "Peace, outlaws." This is
What's
brother Shay
happening?
from Frontline Black News and Shabaka's Black. Yes, man. I ain't been able to get with y'all lately, man. Shabaka tell Shabaka, man. I'm gonna have to get down with y'all, man, because I ain't been able to. I just, man, just trying to get shit in line, man. And I'm trying to get things to go and get. I'm almost at a relaunch for what we do here.
Mhm.
And so I'm just be patient with what we're doing. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like I said, share the show, share the live, comment. The phone number is 262-202-5131. 262-202-5131. The queen is dead. And nobody black gets this shit.
Ding dong, the
People out there
queen is
who do
dead.
that. They said in Jamaica that they would mourn for 10 days.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. And see, once again, when we start to talk about FBA, foundational Black Americans, we start talking about us, right? You know what I mean? Like when the Jamaicas and Ghanaian and Nigerian, and don't get me wrong, it's all melanin, it's all love. But we are a unique breed. Black Americans, it's nothing else, it's nothing like us anywhere else. You won't find this. You find some people. You think, oh, he black. You go up to him and say, "What's up?" You be like, "I know my friend." Oh shit, well, you ain't from Detroit or nothing. And like I said, melanin is melanin, but there's different. There's a lot more complicated shit running through American black people. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been infused, we've been indoctrinated, we've been objectified for a long period of time, and so it's a whole different kind of a mix of biologicalness with Black America, right? Like, we have this thing, right? We have this thing. Like whatever we touch, we add this thing to it. It's something about Black people, and in a lot of ways, it doesn't necessarily resonate in the same way from people of color from other places. So because in America, we're gonna say mourn for her for 10 days. Man, get the fuck out of here. Jamaican people might have their reasons for saying, hey, we over the years England has supported us. I don't know the nature of their diplomatic relationships, but I get Canada. I know was really like, oh man, long live the Queen. Like, it's just for us. It's like there was the running meme on Facebook. I told my mama the queen died. And she said, "Oh Lord, not Latifah."
Yeah, yes.
That's the queen who we like. You know what I mean? Like we ain't,
Uh-huh.
yeah. That's that bullshit, man. That's the bullshit. But
Well, with them, a lot of what's wild, and I just noticed this. Well, I didn't just notice this the other day. I was just reminded of it the other day. Like, yeah, we had it fucked up in America, as far as all the things that transpired. But when you look at like Africa, Jamaica, all them shits like that, they were still colonized, and they mind is still colonized. Like I was watching the video the other day, Africans bleaching their skin still, and it's like, damn, like so even though they weren't the kidnap victims, they still were victims of somebody coming in they shit and telling them they are less of a person in they shit. And that psychologically fucked them up on a whole nother level though. They bleaching their skin, and in Africa and Jamaica, they, bleaching they so that colonialism, man, it hit people in different ways, man. And I see a lot of Jamaicans that be like, "Fuck the queen" too. That's just that political,
mhm.
the bourgeoisie folk. But the
Right.
people in Kingston in the hood are like,
All
"Fuck
right,
her
Scott,
too."
Bumble Clock Queen.
Right, right.
Or Pussy War. That's my best Jamaican shit right there. That's my best.
Right, right.
Right. No, fuck a queen, man. But no, I mean, listen. And if you out there and you say, Kev, you got to understand what stood for, and feel free to call in. And I'm once again, God bless the dead. But come on, South Africa. See, the crazy part is everybody now is so bent on they're so hell bent on being politically correct and saying the right things and making people comfortable, and I don't want to make you feel bad and all this, that the truth
Mm-mm.
is being slowly wiped away. South
Right.
Africa was an absolute calamity forever.
Mm-hmm.
England, I believe, had a really deep hand in there. I believe they had a really deeply rooted hand in but there's a lot of contributing factors. um
Yeah.
you talking about the jury that she had. Like, yeah. Where you think it came from? South Africa, right? This big, huge diamond that she's had for, and she's allowed to do it. So yeah, and you talked about there. I realize there's a spirit of rebellion everywhere. I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure some people in England like, man, fuck the queen. Let her
Oh
be.
yeah, they were saying that.
Right, I'm
Oh
sure.
shit. I was laughing because I said, you know what? This is some shit that Black Kev and Irish Kev could get down on together. Because people in Ireland was like, man, fuck her. We ain't, people in Ireland was like, man, fuck her.
Yeah, but
Scotland,
the
they like,
thing
fuck
is,
her.
Kevin didn't.
Long live Braveheart.
Shout out. Oh my God, William Wallace. I think he was Scottish though, not Irish. I'm pretty sure he was
No,
Scottish.
he was Scottish, but they fucked up Scotland too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They,
But okay,
they
here's the deal with that. Yeah, we could. Shout out to Ewok and White Kev. We give him a name, White Kev. Right.
them Irish kids.
Right. Irish Kev. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Irish Kev. Irish Kev. He didn't exactly know the lineage of that. Because I asked him about that and said, think about what happened in Ireland with the IRA and all this. And he's like, nah, well,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know sheep shit from Wild Honey about it. And he claimed Irish. We don't necessarily know. Irish, right? Like, it might be false flagging, whatever. Witch Doctor, what it do, man? I see you got the gun show going tonight. You've been
Right,
doing
right.
class. Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I just shout out to Spin Milwaukee again. I did another spin
That's dope.
session down there with the bike thing. But that ain't why I'm late. My computer was just acting funny as a motherfucker. I couldn't get it to connect and shit.
You always late. It's all good.
That's all good.
Hey, I'm early for next time.
Right.
Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. And listen, we just sitting up here pontificating, if you will, about the death of the queen. And how we were so fucked up about it, and how we thought it was such a tragedy to lose a woman of her great magnitude.
Who thought it was such a tragedy?
Nobody. I'm on some bullshit. Nobody gives a fuck. All right, you have a
Hey,
thought.
you know, it's a problem with that, man.
Okay.
It's a problem with
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like how we do that shit. Like, even if it's somebody black, a celebrity, you know what I mean? Like we go out there, we say, "Oh, R.I.P. so and so." Man, that's messed up. I never thought it would happen. I never thought death happens. That's part of life. First off, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? First off, and then second off, I feel like that help that doing stuff like that make us grieve more than we have to. You know what I mean? It's almost like you choosing to grieve. Like, okay, I ain't saying, you know what I mean, it's a good thing that she died or nothing, but you know what I mean? This shit is expected. You know what I mean? And not only that, but I don't know her. And she was a tyrant also, her
That's
fucking
where
life. You know what I mean? Let's not forget about that part. You know what I mean? And now here we are with black people out here grieving for her, you know what I'm saying? And they don't even know what they grieving about.
right. And once again, first of all, she was 96.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's supposed
Let's
to die.
right. Well, it's it won't
Let's
Right.
be
be
long, right?
real.
Don't
Right.
plan
Right.
nothing long term. But the whole thing was what she stood for, right? And it's still her family, the lineage that she actually represent. When we talk about colonialism, we talking about one of the most oppressive regimes of all times. And if you look at the history of Europe, it's a lot of tyrants that had what's Ferdinand? Is he from where was he from?
Yeah, that's
With
the shit they
millions,
do.
hundreds of millions of black people. I mean, they walking around still over there with the chocolate hands from symbolic of
Right.
I can't remember which country it is. If y'all out there, y'all know.
Uh, um,
I want to say
who was
Denmark.
that? Leopold the
Oh, yeah,
third.
yeah. What I call him, Russell, Leon. What I call him? I fucking name.
Shit. Who was? What
I
was
know who
that?
you're talking
Was
about.
that Dutch? Was he
I think it was,
Dutch or something like that?
yeah, Dutch or like Denmark or Dutch people. I don't know. Where's Dutchland? Where do Dutch people stay at? I don't know shit about Europe like that. I, I was
I,
just
I never had no
playing.
desire to go
Is
there.
that
So
what they
like,
right. Let's backpack through Europe. Let's not, motherfucker.
I thought about going to get some fish and chips, but I said, "Fuck that! I'll get some catfish and spaghetti here and just call it a day and shit."
You better take your ass to J and J's. It's Outlaw Radio, man. Live from the basement on a Monday night. Witch Doctor, Huge Hefner, and myself, the Negro Whisperer. And it was a lot of shit going on in the city. Once again, Milwaukee for me is just such a big action movie. It's like a big budget action movie. Like it's car chases, it's shootouts, it's fires
Oh,
and
damn.
explosions. Fucking two fire trucks run into each other. Buses running into buildings. Police shooting each other
Shooting
on
each other.
accident.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jesse Parr. He said Belgium. Thank you, Belgium. I see. I
Oh,
already know
thanks.
people. Listen, they be knowing. Like, let me
That's
get.
the
Let me get
homie.
up there. He can't look it up right now. Yeah, Belgium. Shout out Jesse Vaughn. That's the homie. Shout out to Jesse. Now
Yep,
Jesse is
yep.
one who has some very interesting political. Jesse, you need to call in, man. You need to call in because Jesse with the
That's my
policy.
homie. I used to work with Jesse. We used to chop
Oh
it up all
yeah.
the time
Okay.
at work about
Oh yeah.
just he one of the people that observe the foolishness of society and the the double standards and shit like that.
We went to grad school together and got our
Oh, okay,
masters
yeah.
together. Yeah, we was in the same cohort, and he's a fellow RC freak like myself. So and I ain't
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say.
that is right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
your boy put him up. Hang on there. Shout out to you, Jesse. But yeah, man. So Milwaukee, come on, like it's like where do you start at, right? Like with the show we just had with Sean Moore last week, I thought it was a great conversation when we discussed, and it was a lot about the Office of Violence Prevention. And if you watch that show, I didn't. What I didn't want to do was load everything on them, right? I didn't. But since they have such a soap opera reality show, uh, you know, Love and City Hall going on, people they don't show up at the DC. I'm going to DC and all this shit. And money over here that the mayor don't know about, and somebody else over here. Why they getting money over there? Who getting this money? Oh, y'all owe us some money. And these games are being done, and people in Milwaukee just getting murdered, just getting murked left and right, man. Just getting shot up, dying in the streets. And you're saying, well, hey, here's an office to prevent violence. Yeah, right. Like
Mhm.
so, that show was heavy on that, and that, so if you listen to it, I don't blame everything wrong in Milwaukee on them. But once again, I have to quote the legendary Liz Brown: "Stop playing in my face. Stop playing in my face." She used to always say, "They playing in our face." I used to be like, y'all got Liz pissed off now. But yeah, man. So with all the stuff going on in the city, where do we start? Like, rest in peace to to the young sister who lost her life. We had some gunshot victims. Rest in peace. Uh, this plague of domestic violence, of men killing women. I need for somebody to, and shooting them. I need for somebody to help me with this because I'm struggling to understand this. It it's 2022, right?
Well,
And
we got a lot of men that don't know how to deal with it, their issues and shit, man. You know what I mean? They don't know how to deal with their emotions. That's what it is.
okay, emotion,
Yeah,
emotion.
they don't know how to control their shit. They don't know how to take shit in and deal with it and keep it moving. You know what I mean? Okay, the woman don't want you no more. Nigga, leave.
Okay, okay, yeah, but you know what I see in a lot of, especially when I've witnessed kind of like dysfunctional relationships with any of my friends or relatives, it was kind of like they had gotten locked into kind of like a tit for tat thing where it became like, well, I'm going to do this to you and I'm going to do this to you back and I'm going to do this to you. And neither one of them says, well, I'm just going to leave until something really major starts to happen. What's the old Gladys Knight song? Neither one of us wants to be the first one to say goodbye. It's that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mhm.
for us on the outside, you say, man, just leave. And the cat's in there like, man, I got 15 years with 2 kids, just man, or I don't understand it. And sometimes they don't even have that. It's just she ain't just she just she ain't going nowhere else. If I can't have you, can't nobody have. What is this? I don't know. Is it the emotional immaturity, or is it just a situation where, nah, bitch, I ain't up in my feelings like that. You just done pissed me off. I'm finna kill you. Like, cause I threw that bitch word in there for effect. Trust me. I don't know if I'd be like, damn, why she gotta be a bitch? You know how sensitive people are, man. Like, damn, why she gotta be a bitch? Hypothetically speaking, right? But somebody help me out in the comments, call in, share the show, share the YouTube feed, man, share the Twitter show, whatever, Outlaw Radio. Share it, share it, share it, share it. That's all we ask. Because I want to know um where does this come from all of a sudden? Because problems in relationships and emotional immaturity, it's not a new thing. This been around forever. But I don't remember a time when there's always been situations where abusive men have killed and murdered women. But I feel
Shit
like
is
it's
getting
more
worse.
okay, thank you. It ain't just me saying, wait a minute.
It's getting worse.
Right. Another one. That's why I said on the last show, in some situations, the dude is killing the mother and the daughter, or the mother and the kids. Like, what the hell is going on with black men? What the fuck is up with us? Like, that's the shit that, like, it puzzles me, man. It puzzles me. Like, so I don't, and once again, I believe where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And so when I see a situation like this, I don't know the happenings going on downtown, but I feel like there should be a portion of the Office of Violence Prevention dedicated to domestic violence. I feel like that should be a program. Okay, so you got 414 Life, violence preventers. They go out, they deal with certain situations. But if this is an Office of Violence Prevention, it has to be different departments because there's different departments to the dysfunction in the city. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So there should be a dedicated office and that should be on the mayor's yesterday list. Like, we got to establish, I want to get a bunch of experts together. Let's get some of this COVID money and put it towards domestic violence prevention, right? Let's get this started. Get case managers, get workers, people who are going to court from the very beginnings, where you see a young lady who's in there with a young man and they going through any kind of domestic thing, or even an old man, an old woman, and automatically somebody's assigned to say, oh, intervention, mediation, let's get some, because once it spills into the court's hands, then it's public business. But you say, I don't need motherfuckers in my business. Well, y'all shouldn't have went to jail, or y'all shouldn't have went to court, because that automatically made it their business. I'm just saying, I feel like there's not, it's like we take a blanket approach. We take one big broad stroke and say violence prevention. Do you know how many different kinds of violence there actually is? Like, so I don't know. I get long winded and I be on the soapbox, but I just feel like something need to be done for. I got a daughter, right, and I'm feeling a certain kind of way that she's coming up in a world where it's cool for men or the norm. I shouldn't say cool, but it's becoming a norm for men to just, bang, right? You know, is this men striking back at women's lib? Like, is this, because then now we saying, well, you can't get abortions, you getting beat, you getting trafficked, shoot your ass. This is your payback for all this women's liberation movement that you've been engaged in. Remember the other night when I asked my cousin Angela Mallett, shout out to Angela Mallett, dope show too, by the way. That was on. It's y'all got to check these shows out, man. Y'all sleeping. Y'all sleeping on the People's Network, but that's on me. I got to pick that up. But I asked her, have women gone too far? Like, I'm not saying it's their fault, but something's wrong. What the fuck is going on between men and women where now it's just like bong, like, shut up, wow. Like, I don't know. Are women so aggressive now that men feel like I'm pushed into a corner, or because we talked about some men getting beat up? How many of these cases are a man who was getting knocked upside his head by a woman, or mistreated by a woman? And I'm asking in a sincere way because I want to know the breakdown of it. Because it's just ridiculous for me to turn on the news day in and day out and see, oh, a woman was murdered, and then the neighbor says she was murdered by her living boyfriend. Like, what the fuck? Like, you do understand once you kill her, you going to jail, right? Right. So I guess, but they figure like if I can't have you, nobody will. I don't know. I don't know. Domestic violence, man. What y'all think? I mean, we know they're emotional. We know that there's an emotional thing for brothers. Do we need to start some kind of support groups for brothers? To
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, they really do. I get, man, I get Facebook messages out of nowhere, man, with people with dudes that just be, needing to talk. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, hey, I need your positivity right now. I need some encouragement right now. I need some news I can use right now. Something like, so it would be beneficial for more men to get into support groups because as you talk to a lot of them do be having the same gripe, man. And I know a lot of brothers out there, like I don't know any of them that's putting their hands on a woman, but a lot of the brothers I talk to that be needing encouragement from me, they are fathers who are struggling to see their children right now. Woman might have stopped answering the calls, moved, and don't tell them where they live. Got another dude living in the house and raising their kid, won't even let them know how the kid doing, So I see a lot of that, man. I see a lot of brothers being stressed out right now by situations with children. So
You
that's
know what?
definitely one support thing we can get cracking.
And you know what? That's why I asked the question, Rail. And that's see when I said that, I think people initially would react to it and say, "What did he mean? What they do?" Or "What do he mean? What did he mean?" Well, what I'm saying is, in certain situations, when you manipulate or kind of like when you manipulate, let's just use the word manipulate. When you manipulate certain kinds of individuals who are already weak mentally, right? Like,
Right,
so this cat is already, borderline, right? And then you
right.
you get into this kind of relationship where I'm, like I said, it's this tit for tat back and forth. I'm gonna do this, and then kids get involved, and then child support. I've seen child support break a brother all the way down. Like, man, look, man, I work 80 hours. I work 80 hours a week. My bring home is like $200
Yeah.
because I'm getting, and on top of this, she won't even let me see my kids, bruh. Gotta The money that she does get when I pick my kids up, they dirty. She living in the hood. She got all kinds of different cats hanging with, and then you get into it with dude. You see what I'm saying? More and more and more, this
Yeah.
pressure starts to kind of, and you say, "No, what, dog?" I I won't say this brother's name, but I know a brother who I'm close with who was going through a thing. He was divorced, going through a thing with his son to the point where he actually said to me, "Dog, I just feel like I need to just put her in a box." And I was like, "Whoa, first of all, hold on. Don't let this be the last phone call you made and said that shit before you go do it, right? Because I don't
Right.
mean it." But I was telling him, "Nah, man, you can absolutely not go out like that. You cannot go out." Like, I talked to him and talked to him about it, but he was that stressed. So,
It
you know,
gets stressful, man. I've been there. Like when I lost my job at AT&T due to health problems, um, shit that I found out that stress from the job was causing. But At that time, man, I was making 32.50 an hour.
Oh Lord.
So I lost that motherfucker by the time I got back into the work environment again. I had to take a job at Spectrum, and they started me at 12.50 an hour. So that's a $20 an hour pay cut. But I still was being charged child support like I was getting that bread. So
Mhm.
man, it was times. Well, no, not times. When child support found me and hit me at Spectrum, shit, I was after child support seeing $800 a month with $1,000 mortgage. That's that's on top of utilities still having to be paid. That's on top of me having my current family that I got to support. That's on top of me getting my boys from that marriage almost 50% of the time. So I was still expected to take care of them 100% of the time I had them, and then help her 50% of the time she had them. So, and it was times I go to her like, hey, this is before, and this is why I try to educate brothers now. Learn the law, get out that situation. I finally did, but for years, I went to her like, hey, I ain't got that job no more. Can you go forgive my arrears? Can you go get my shit reduced? And she used to use it as a bargaining chip. I think about forgiving the arrears if you agree to letting me get the boys 5 days out the week. And it's like, damn, the only way you gonna forgive my so you telling me you don't need my money right now, but this is a chess play. You know what I'm saying? And then at the time she was married, so that's two working adults with my bread that was going there, man. My taxes was getting intercepted. It was times where I'm like, damn, my taxes got intercepted. I'm living on peanuts. I'm hustling just to supplement whatever I'm doing. And I can't give my kids a good ass Christmas. I probably get them, all right, I'm gonna buy y'all one video game. Y'all figure out what game y'all want together type shit. But then I'm like, okay,
Man,
they
that
mama
shit
just
used to suck.
Man, then I'm like, man, okay, they mama got 5 G's from me because they just intercepted my taxes. Maybe she'll do something nice for my boys. And then it's like, no, mama said we can't have a Christmas this year because her husband kids was fucking up. So it's like, so I understand how niggas can get like that, but I had to sit down, think up a master plan. And I mean, when it's all said and done today, one of my boys turned 18, one of them 17. I finally got off of child support, and that whole shit was crazy because I went there and finally showed them like, hey, look, I ain't at AT&T no more. Y'all just take me off this shit. And I didn't try to put her on or nothing. I just said, hey, y'all take me off this shit. She fought it. We had to go to court. And then when we went to court, they're like, oh, she makes way more than you. Would you like child support? And I'm
Mm.
like, yes, I would.
Yeah,
It ain't gonna give me my 15 G's back, but it sure felt good getting my
and
arrears when
sorry.
she filed her taxes this year.
Yeah,
So
fuck it over. What we
so
said earlier,
it ain't the
blood clot.
15 G's, but that 3 G's felt nice, and it will give me a couple new toys.
Right.
But that's why I go there with dudes like I understand, man. This is what you need to do. The Legal Aid Society is still free on Tuesdays. The Marquette Legal Aid Society, holla at them, see what if you can get the family court. I'm helping brothers now that is going through this type shit. Cause I'm like, hey, look, man, when it's all said and done, if y'all can't see eye to eye, get some shit documented and put in court papers. Cause that way, no matter how she feel about you, if she don't adhere to those court papers, they'll find her in contempt. But we can't give up. We can't lose hope because a hopeless nigga is a dangerous nigga. And I almost became that motherfucker. So that's why I could relate and just try to share my story to let motherfuckers know. It took about 8 years. I was on child support for a minute. Like I said, one of my boys 18 now, one of them 17. But at the end of the day, at least I ain't paying no more.
Right. Stephanie Bowles, shout out to Stephanie Bowles. She said kids in the house with mom and dad. Dad beat mom, bring other women in the house and beat them too. And then she said some demons don't reveal. And this conversation started with domestic violence, the rash and the epidemic that we have with domestic violence. And I was speaking on men versus women, because we have a lot of situations where men have murdered women. So if you just tuning into the show, you're like, are they talking about child support? No, that started because of, we're saying what's going on inside these relationships that's breeding such high levels of contempt and like angst, where you just like kill the other person. Child support, that manipulation of children for a lot of men is so detrimental and damaging. Like Rail was talking about, I've watched brothers deal with, I have never, thank God, but I've watched brothers deal with this, and totally intentional aggression by the mom, by the child's mother, right? And it's just like stuff that's being done. You saying, bro, for real? And he said, nah, man, this is what I got to deal with just to see my son, or just to see my
Right.
daughter, or it's like, and I'm like, man, we need, that's another thing that we need to put on our list in terms of demands when we start talking to public officials, is child support reform. But I was even thinking more so of the pressure that's put on a brother to do things. You need to get some money. I need to have this. I need to have that. Brothers get insecure. Man, she want to be out here with her girls. I ain't having bread like that. She up in the club messing with all kinds of dudes. I don't know what's going on. Niggas messaging me. It, you know, like it's just mind twisting, and it can go both ways, by the way. So I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
but there's all kinds of tug of war in these relationships. So that's why I
Hey,
said something
I
to be done.
remember, I remember sitting in the joint, right? Um, my they took about $5,000, like you say, they got you. I think that's what they do, right? It's something about that 5,000 number, right? The motherfucker snatched $5,000 from me too while I was in the joint.
Mm. Yeah,
Shouldn't even
man,
be
they
paying
do.
child support while I'm in the joint, right? But anyway, they did that shit, man, and this motherfucker sent me a picture of her and her girls in the club drinking, got bottles of Moet all over the table and shit.
See, shit like that. I mean, I can't condone shit,
But you know, we
but
always
I
gonna get
understand.
looked at as the bad guy, because that's just how society is. You know what I'm saying? They never look at the issues and shit that we have to deal with like that. They just look at what we do because of the issue, and then tell us we got emotional issues, right? This shit's fucked up, man. The way
Yeah, I
you
had to I when I had to describe it to my mother one time, because she seen me just trying to hold back tears and shit, right? And she like, I don't know what you're going through, but my mama's still real Christian and shit. But
Oh yeah, that's mama.
I don't know what you're going through, but just give it to Jesus. And I'm like, Mama, it feel like watching those old King Kong movies where he in the cage and they throwing shit at him, mocking him, and then when he shake the cage, they like, see, that's the exact reason he need to be in there, because he dangerous. But it's like,
mm-hmm.
you've provoked me to show my rage at my helplessness in my situation, but then you use that as justification of keeping me in that situation. So it can get, man, I just, like I said, I try to tell my story to show other brothers it take time and it take grind, but if you keep on it, you could be free, and they ain't got to go that other route where they do something that they can't take back.
Shout out to Ace Cooley. He said, how's it going, gentlemen?
What's happening,
Ace
family?
Cooley, what's popping with you? Shout out
Peace.
to Byron Terry. He said, alternative facts, lies, fake it till you make it. I just can't do it. Much love to you, brother Kev and Outlaw Radio. Much love to you, Byron. Man, been a while. Shout out to the whole Terry family, matter of fact. But so, okay, and so this is about this back and forth. And a lot of times where women get manipulated by men into these crazy situations, right? And then she has these kids and he's just out doing whatever. And then she
Mm-hmm.
fighting with the girl who he's messing with, and they end up, we've had situations where they end up shooting you. Somebody gets shot or killed, or that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's that's what I'm saying. We need relationship kind of like, I don't know. Before, when individuals get into a relationship, you go into it, you think about, well, we don't need no therapy. We don't need no help, nobody to help us. We figured this shit out. But somebody somewhere, if it's going back and forth like this, should be able to step in and say, ho, 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 ho. And I know, because like I said, I've been married 21 years. So I know it gets to the point where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Right. You'll have your ups and downs. But if we talking about where I'm hitting you, or you hitting me, or you taking my kids and won't let me see my kids, or I'm dragging you, disrespecting you verbally. Like when we start doing stuff like that to each other, then some intervention is needed. And a lot of times it's just not the resources ain't available. So we see what we got now, which is just this crazy domestic violence. Women getting
Right.
murdered, men getting murdered, whole families losing it. Byron Terry said, "My final request is a special master." I don't know. I don't know what that is. So you'll have to put us up on that. B. What special master? Ace Cooley said the whole purpose of child support was to eliminate the man from the home. It also was made to criminalize you, hence destroy
Right.
the black family. The problem is that it backfired and it hit the white folks too. Yeah, yeah, black men ain't the only ones now. Because some white dudes are sitting somewhere right now smoking a goddamn cigarette saying these goddamn niggers don't know what I deal with on a monthly, right? Like, so I just think it needs reform because I think it's punitive to the point where when you do have a brother who's saying, nah, I really want to be a father to my kid. I just don't want to deal with her. Then the judge is like, nope, you had the baby, you did, and they hit you like you got them pregnant and ran off or something. Like it's like, why are you so mad, right? Like, because the judge who was over, or the commissioner who was dealing with my brother when I went with him one time, I was like, why she acting like he did something to her? Like she had that kind of attitude, and this dude was a great dad. Like he went in there, he thought he was, I don't need no lawyer because I'm gonna go in here with all these receipts and I'm gonna show her. And she was like, that shit don't mean nothing to
They
me,
don't care
bro.
nothing about your
They
receipt.
don't care shit about that.
She hit him with a in
They
the
don't care
courtroom.
nothing
Like that
about
person,
that.
like, where that shit come from? But nah, so need reform there, man. And we need to get a hold. Men, we got to get a hold, man. But okay, so one thing we can do as when we are mentoring young men, when we dealing with young men, um, and we're raising them, especially our sons, is to teach them about emotional maturity. To say,
Right.
okay, son, when you first, how it is when you dealing with a woman and you gone off of her. And you like, man, I just love her, man. I just want to do, I don't, man, you gotta have some parameters. You have to have some boundaries. Certain things shouldn't happen because it shouldn't function in that regard. Like if he's so mad where he just punch you in your mouth, and then the next day it's like, well, I'm sorry, baby, I got issues, and I love you, and she should be like, no. What they call them? That's a red flag. I can't do this with you. I'm gonna get away from you. Now we start talking about, well, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. Then damn sure you got to get some people involved so you can get up out of here. You got to separate yourself from it. You can't stay in it and say, well, he'll be all right or she'll be all right. Nah, bruh, it's only gonna get worse from here. Tiarsha Arthur, whoa, she covered up the screen. She said, I think some females, I won't call them women, that play games with their kids are wrong when they won't let the fathers see their children because they're not together anymore. One of my sons and my nephew went through this. I told both of them to take them to court and to get their visitation rights. They got it. The judges told the females that they couldn't do this, and if they kept violating the visitation date, they would be held in contempt. Yeah,
Right.
if brothers go to court, yes, there is some judges and
Right.
some commissioners who would say, "What the fuck? Really? This what you want? Look, check this out." But you got to file that motion. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that's the man. You had to. I got to go back to court after she do this for 3 more months. That's 3 more months of hell, and then she still might be like, psh, nah, fuck it. You ain't call the police on me because you ain't seeing them. You're gonna be like, man, I gotta work. I can't be going downtown every goddamn day filing petitions and motion. They got me walking all over the courthouse. A lot of brothers just say, fuck it. It is what it is, man. I ain't tripping. I see him. I explained it to him one day. Then the damage starts to be done because then you see where your daddy at. He think that little child support he pays. It's like, man, you're doing too much. Byron said we never hated on one another like today. I never wanted to fight a woman, but she didn't want to be with me anymore. Whether you saw a woman be hit or abused, if you were a child, boy, or man, you knew it was wrong. I totally agree with you. Because it's so for brothers who say I grew up watching my daddy beat my mama. Well, didn't it make you feel bad? Then you look at it and say, oh man, that's some bullshit. So when you get older and you punch a woman, you say, well, daddy did it. I'm going to start saying I saw him do it. You knew it was wrong. You know how it made you feel. So stop using it as an excuse, right? As a child, to see your mother get beat. Thankfully, once again, I never saw that, right? My mother was not having that shit. So my daddy wasn't about that action like that anyway. So more often than not, we had to keep her from hitting him, right? Because my mother just like be on that shit when she go there, like, what the fuck, what? You're like, mama, what's wrong with you? No, dude, to throw you through this window out into the street, like his arm is bigger than your waist, like, but she didn't care. So I that motherfucker going to listen at me. That's that up and down dysfunction that I witnessed. But you know what it told me? I don't want to be like that in the relationship that I have when I grow up. I'm not my kids ain't gonna see that. That's not to say they ain't seen me and their mama argue, but it ain't been no fisticuffs. Ain't been no motherfucker getting nothing through at them, no knives, no police involved. None of this shit that happened in the 80s on Capitol Drive when I was staying over there. So I'm just saying, man, don't make excuses for the shit. We gotta do something about this. We gotta do something about this domestic violence because it's an issue, man. I have to keep quoting Tupac. Pretty soon we'll have a race of babies that hate the ladies that make the babies. Nobody wasn't thinking about how deep Pac was when he said that back in the day, talking about he wasn't no lyricist. If you don't, hey, daughter. Well, listen, somebody tell me what the hell is going on in Illinois. Have you all looked at this safety law that
About
they're
that purge thing.
what is this? It's been called the purge, right? It's been called the purge. The bare bones of what I'm aware of is that because of some law passed in 2020, they're going to release 400 individuals from being incarcerated who have committed crazy, egregious, wild, violent crimes back into the community. And at the same time, they're eliminating cash bail for certain offenses. So from when you get arrested, there's no bail. You just sit there till you go to court. It's gonna be some motherfuckers sitting in jail for a long time because the court system be backed up. Do y'all know anything about this? You call it the purge. What is this about?
Well, no, I seen the commercial where or a meme or something where it was like in Illinois and so many months, whatever, the purge, but it was a cat on when I was dropping my daughter off to school this morning. It was a sound like a white guy called into the Breakfast Club this morning and was saying that's just fear mongering on he said it was the Republicans fear mongering, about the liberals. He said what's actually going on is he said it's a lot of good stuff in it. I don't know. But he said basically in Cook County, before people could be sitting there 3 years before they went before a judge. So they could be sitting there 3 years before they ever went before a judge and got sentenced or anything. So he said now this bill pretty much makes it to where at the discretion of the judge, if they meet criteria to where they're nonviolent or, certain offenses and stuff like that, now the bail could be waived and they still got to wait for a court date, but now they can do it outside of jail or, at home. But he was saying how all that purge stuff was just fear mongering and it ain't going, it ain't crazy like that. He was saying, look up the bill and it actually has a lot of stuff in there that seem to would be more beneficial for people that look like us, so we ain't sitting in there for 3 years waiting on a date.
Mm. Byron said, "Don't get it twisted. Let's wait and see because the law doesn't apply to you ninjas." He said, "Kind of like the black cop thinking he could do what the white cop does, not being rude, but you hear me. But do you hear me? I hear what you're saying, B. I hear what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying. And listen, I wasn't really getting caught up in the commercial shit, right? Because these political mudslinging campaigns,
Yeah, I hate these political years, man. Like you can't even watch YouTube without Mandela Barnes. You think it's dangerous now? Where Mandela? I'm like, God damn! Just cut
He
my
wants
damn
to
Prince
defund the
song off.
police.
Right?
like right, he attacks cops.
Right.
Wait, y'all do realize this brother was lieutenant governor, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, the one that really last night, my wife and I were watching television, and one of those commercials came on, and they said, "Yeah, Mandela Barnes, he want to pass programs to make white kids feel bad in school." Like,
Oh damn!
to teach classes in school that makes white kids feel bad. I was like, "Are they?" My wife was paused, like, "Are they? Did they really say that?" Like, she was like, "I can't believe they put that in there." I'm like, "Dude, they go hard. They go too hard with this, with the mudslinging." So I know that politically there would be some some discrepancies with this thing in Illinois, but I'm saying the release of the 400 incarcerated convicted that's real though, right?
Hmm. I believe so.
So in a city like Illinois, let me do this math now because I ain't good with it. No, carry past 5 and carry the 2 and add 1. In a city like Chicago, which we just reported, what are they over 400 homicides right now? In a city that's out of control, you're gonna release 400 violent rape. Like that's what I'm saying. I need to know the truth of it because I seen the commercial, but then I did some reading on it, and I said, so this is real. They actually gonna do this. How is this? I don't understand this. This don't make sense to me.
Didn't they do something here though before like that where people were scared, like, oh, they releasing all these criminals back into the? I think a couple years ago they released a bunch of people here, but I think they were like non-violent. But it was like kind of like the same fear and everything. Like, oh, they just releasing prisoners back into the population, and they ain't got no jobs to give them, no, So I don't know. I just sit back and watch, man.
right. Well, I know Obama and your boy Trump. They've been releasing and pardoning people forever. If somebody out there is aware, I don't have enough information, and I was looking for it. I just said, man, I read what it was about because, like I said, I'm not really riding with the commercials. Like, come on, even the crab one. Like, I'm not riding on that because I don't believe in that. So yeah, and I also wanted to add this because we were talking about the death of the Queen, and we were talking about Black people not really. I mean, foundational Black Americans. I got to start saying that. I got to start making that absolutely positively clear. When I speak on this show about us and my people, I'm talking about foundational Black Americans, right? I want people to understand that. I speak from our perspective, right? So if you say I don't like it is what it is. That's because that's where I'm coming from. So when I say if we go back and look historically at a lot of historical figures, Winston Churchill, a lot of people who they told us was heroes and this and that, they did not like people of color, whether it been Africans, whether it been Black people in America, whether if you go Mahatma Gandhi
Right.
did not. He was a racist Indian in
Racist.
South America before he started wearing blankets and sheets and all this kind of stuff, messing with young girls. So you got to know when they throw a hero at you, and this is know who that person really was, right? So when that's why our reaction to the Queen passing away was kind of like we was like, oh man, fuck out of here, we don't care about that. Let's go back up. My chat room's popping. Hey, y'all share the show, man. Hit like, hit share, hit follows Outlaw Radio on a Monday night. Foundational Black American platform. I love saying it. Foundational Black American, right? FBA, right? It just sounds smooth to me. It got a nice ring to it. Prisoners that have been convicted of nonviolent crimes and weed offenses should be released. I totally agree. I agree with that. I think it's some motherfuckers that need to be locked up, but it's supposed to be nonviolent inmates. Basically, if they're in jail for selling weed and don't have any murders, they're going to release them. Okay, so it ain't rapists, and because what I read said it was like murderers and like, oh
The
shit,
Purge.
birds, right? They've been alert. You have to strap up. Shout out to Joseph Walker. He said the commercials you see is for tax paying simps. So it's voting, is voting. They're stealing all your money while putting fear into you. Well, that's why we are the party poopers on Outlaw Radio. We poop on both parties equally because we understand the egregious nature of the treatment of foundational Black Americans. We understand it. We understand it, right? We know what's popping. We don't fuck with no Republicans. We don't fuck with no Democrats, right? Because I believe in voting for the person who has our best interests at heart. And when I look at most of the people running for office, none of them have it. So I'm often in there just kind of, throwing darts at the dartboard. And that has to stop, right? We have to clean up the slop for that. But yeah, man. So the purge shit is hype. It ain't really no purge like that. It's people who ain't, that you holding the cell for somebody who really need to be here. They gonna let you go. If somebody out there got a information counter to that, please let me know because I don't want to be walking around looking like an idiot, right? Now, I like to be in the know and shit. I don't like to be one of these motherfuckers saying shit and somebody be behind me like, you don't know what the fuck he talking about, right? Now I want to talk about this. Because this has been an ongoing thing for us on Outlaw Radio. I know by now y'all have all seen the Ari Spears, Tiffany Haddish. Uh, I don't know what the point of this was. I don't know at what point child molestation is ever funny. I can't really think of any joke in regards to child molestation that's funny. And so what they did was this skit and they utilized actual children. First of all, I don't know why you would agree to even do this, right? Because me personally, if I'm an actor or I'm a comedian, when this role comes, I'm gonna say, nah, I'm not doing that shit. No, what I mean, have you all seen this video? Have y'all seen it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Shit horrible.
Okay. It's not funny, right? And I don't know whose bright idea this was to do this skit. Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears, comedians. I know in Hollywood sometimes it get hard. You got to pay the rent, right? Motherfucker got to eat. I understand. But the way this was done is senseless to me. And then we talk about, because we've always been on here talking about freedom of speech in comics. Like, it's no such thing as going too far. I've been one to say that. Like, if you don't like it, change the channel. If you don't agree with it, don't watch it. But in a situation like this, I got to call bullshit on this one. Even if you're a comedian, right? That's too much because it involves children. Anything with adults is fair game as far as I'm concerned. But when we even talking about the depiction of children being molested, I have an issue with it, right? Now, I don't think they should be canceled or whatever. I think they should be reminded that the shit wasn't funny and that it was out of pocket. Whatever lawsuit and legality happens to them behind this, I believe they deserve it. But if you say cancel them, they can't do it. Damn, a motherfucker make one bad decision, it can't never work again. I'm never a proponent of that. Let's see. Byron said, "Do you think Trader Truth should have banked zero and him lied about it? All you brothers are over 45." Right. Well, not all of us. Rail ain't quite there yet. He's still on nephew status. Barely though, right? Rail said,
yeah, I'm 39 this year.
On your heels, have on your heels.
Right.
Trader Truth and Zero. I know about it, right? Because I live in the Podverse. I will talk about it. I just want to get this Tiffany Haddish thing. We can get to that. She said, "I have Tiffany." TR Arthur said, "I haven't seen the video, but Tiffany Haddish said that they have been trying to get money out of her for years, so now she is suing them." Yes. She said, and it probably is a money grab, right?
I believe so. I mean, I didn't watch the video because I chose not to watch it. All I had to know what it's about. But then they say it was like from 2012 or
it's not new.
It's old as fuck. So my first thought was, where were the parents when this skit was going on? Because if something going on with my children, I'm stepping in. No, that shit ain't cool. Thank you for the opportunity, but we about to hit it. You know, so don't let the child go through with the skits, then think and feel some kind of way about it afterwards, and then try to get some money because that's what they were saying. They was trying to just sue them for some bread. It just seemed real funny to me that like the shit popped off after Ari Spears said the shit emoji thing, and I'm like, damn, you got to be careful who you even fuck with sometimes because they could pull up your dirt just because they trying to pull up the dirt on somebody else.
Yeah,
I think they do that shit on purpose. I think they do it on purpose. They hold that shit like that, man, and wait for the right opportunity to drop it on a nigga. Come on back, nigga. Come on back.
Could, definitely could. Yeah.
You know what? You made a good point that Tiffany Haddish is like collateral damage but here's the deal. Everybody came down on Ari Spears about what he said about Lizzo, but when I went back, what Corey Holcomb said was harder. It was more harsh. There's been several comedians who have dissed Lizzo. And now some switch where everybody loves her now. So now they came down on Ari Spears, and I guess she must be cool with the alphabet people. And they went to work on his ass, and that's what happens.
Hey, she cool with that. She make music for him. Listen, you hear the new song she got on the radio? I'm coming out.
No, I don't.
I'm coming out tonight. I'm coming out tonight. That's the shit they do when they coming out. They gay. They letting people know they gay. She make music for them. That's why they got on his ass.
Yeah. Okay, so that explains it. And you know, like I said, that shouldn't end a comedian's career because he said something about somebody.
Nah, it
Like,
shouldn't.
that's so hypocritical. And then I thought about, and I like Mike Epps. I've been a tremendous supporter of Mike Epps over the years, and I still think he's one of the funniest brothers, even though a lot of people disagree with me. But Mike Epps has done endless jokes about special education kids and handicapped people and old people. Like, that's part of comedy, right? Like,
He's special though. You
Yeah.
know, he
but
just talking
Comedians
about
should be
his
able to say
people. You
whatever
know
the
what I'm
hell they
saying?
want to say, man, because ain't none of that shit serious.
I just think this one, I just think this skit was just too much to do. The fact, what I heard, what's the brother Pierre on one of the shows I watch on YouTube. He made a good point.
Mhm.
He said, if you use grown people in place of the children, okay, it comes and it goes away. The fact that they use real children in this thing, now it is old and it should be like, how did this shit come out of nowhere? But it's obviously a money grab. Sean Moore said none of them giving a shit about nobody in Milwaukee, on top of it being a decade old. um, he said don't nobody want to see all that. Very true. Ace Cooley said it came out in 2014. The problem is the parents were okay with it. Ari Spears came out and said that the mother has done this to several other people. It's another semi R. Kelly parents program, the children type bullshit. You know, I was on the edge of that, where we had talked about with the R. Kelly thing, and in no way, shape, form, or fashion were we, big up in R. Kelly or saying he was innocent. But what we kept saying on the show was, where was the parents? Like, a lot of these parents bought, like, basically sold their children off to R. Kelly and said, he gonna get a record deal. She gonna be famous. We gonna be rich, right? A lot of
Right.
them did that to their children, and
Yeah.
they knew, and they said, well, because as a daddy, me personally, as a father, if my daughter comes to me and says, Dad, I just met R. Kelly. Oh man, he gonna take me on the road. I'm gonna go live with him, and he gonna teach me how to be an artist, and he gonna help me get signed. I'm gonna say, whoa, no, 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 no. First of all, if that motherfucker want to get you a record deal, you can sign that shit in our living room. Second of all, if he wants to train you, all he has to get you trained, then you go to certain, you fly out and go and work with this choreographer. You fly out and work with that producer. There's no need for you to live in the house with him, right? And especially when she says, "Well, Dad, he got this big old mansion and it's a bunch of girls living there."
Mhm.
Not gonna happen. And that's just as a parent. So for any father really who had, the sense God gave an earthworm to say, all right. And once you meet him, and I mean, R. Kelly, you go listen to his music. We know he's no, you can't stay with little cuz. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
end up killing dude, right? So once again, a lot of parents who offer their children up to be, oh man, he gonna be famous, she gonna be famous. You gotta
Mhm.
be careful. Yeah, look at how many child stars have we just witnessed go totally off the deep end. Like, I mean, look at Gary Coleman, right? Look at what super tragic story, right? Like, and it we some joke about Gary Coleman, like, because it was funny, and people thought it was funny, but it was real. He was adopted by some people who did certain things to him and had him on his. He got on his TV show and had all his fame, and they spent most of his money. When he was typecast and he couldn't work when he was older is when he should have been able to enjoy the fruits of his labor, and he couldn't because they had floundered so much of it. So, and he's just one of many child stars that be like, man, my parents spent all my shit. I thought I had a trust fund, and all this, and they end up being an adult. Like, now, damn, I got to go work in Walmart. Everybody like,
Mhm.
where the dude from? Yeah, motherfucker, paper or plastic. So I'm just saying, yeah, I'm not quick. The celebrity shit we be wanting for our kids. You got to be.
Right.
That a lot with athletes too, where a lot of kids end up just kind of given to certain coaches or trainers by the parents. It's like, he gonna help him get to the NBA or he gonna help him get to the NFL.
Right.
And then when you find out some dysfunctional shit was happening, or the kid didn't get everything they were supposed to get, you be shocked. Like, how that happen? Well, because you gave your baby up. That's how it happened, dumbass. I just think this skit should be banned. Just take this shit off. This, if you can wipe it, it should be made to be taboo to watch it, and then let them move on, right? I mean, people been questioning Tiffany Haddish for a minute. Like, I'm starting to think Tiffany, because she had me worried for a minute, because every character she played was kind of like this hood rat, sex, white man, crazy type of sister. And
Yeah, she damn near typecasted herself.
yeah.
Well, that's what even back in the day, remember people was mad at Cat Williams saying he was hating because he was saying how Tiffany Haddish, he was like, everybody got a hood cousin, sister. Like, when did hood become marketable? So, he was saying that from the jump. But I mean, knowing that she's been outspoken about having psychological, concerns, I just hope she make it through this, still with her peace of mind, because she has said that she's had like depression issues and shit like that, especially when you know her story about how she was abused and sleeping in cars and shit like that. So I think this is kind of residual from people finding dirt on Ari Spears, and unfortunately, it came out with some shit that she a part of.
Well, also too, when she did the whole thing with the chicken at the award show and all that shit, I was like, oh no, sis, you can't. But I've liked some work she's done. I've seen some movies and some shows she's been on where I thought she was good in. But when she do, whenever they do that, just you let that stigma, right? When you let them stigmatize you and just kind of, like you say, typecast you as this, and for brothers too, like for Kevin Hart has become kind of like a cliche of he always plays these kind of like self-deprecating characters where he's just in the joke.
Recently, his newer movie, he's been making a couple movies recently that's on Netflix, man, that ain't so Kevin Hartish. Like, he been doing some, and see, on the difference is though, I feel like with him, he in a position where he could make movies and actually show that he could do other shit. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird watching him play a serious role, but it works. You know what I mean? He did that shit.
He has the ability. That one with him and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good movie, and Kevin Hart was dope in that movie.
Yeah, he got one about him and his daughter, and his daughter's mother died.
Sure does.
That's a cold one.
Yeah. But this last one he just did with Mark Wahlberg happened. But it was just a crazy.
That was Kevin Hart.
It was just a crazy movie all around, though. It was just wait, what? Like, I mean, but see, I'm smart enough to know that every movie is not supposed to be critically acclaimed Academy Award winner. Some shit just supposed to be entertaining and funny, where you just like, oh hell no, I can't believe they did that, right? So, but
and some shit just be a paycheck. Like I think of Eddie Murphy. Like there was some years where Eddie, I still love Eddie Murphy. Shit, Trading Places will always be one of my favorite. That's the reason I want to fuck with stocks and shit. But I mean, we got Pluto Nash, we got Holy Man. It was some shits that Eddie was dropping, and it's like, okay, hey, a check is a check sometimes.
Yeah,
so everybody got him. You know what I'm saying?
Eddie dropped some stinkers for a minute. It was like, what the fuck is Eddie Murphy doing? Like,
getting the check, man.
Shout out to T.R. Arthur. Well, Ace Cooley said Tiffany Haddish needs better PR people. The number's 262-202-5131. You want to call in Outlaw Radio on a Monday night. Live from the basement, myself, the Witch Doctor, and Mr. Hugh Hefner himself. What did he say? Billy Ray Valentine in the building.
Right.
When he said she wanted to come on tonight, she had a hair and makeup day. So she said she'll be back with us Wednesday. I mean, I'm putting it lightly. Tiarsha Arthur, she said she bases her jokes off how she was raised and the abuse she went through, like Rail said. Notice Kevin Hart and Eddie Murphy's stand-up was based off their drug-addicted fathers. Eddie Murphy did speak about his father being drunk, right? Like,
he was drunk.
Was alcoholic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good observation.
Billy cannot go outside.
I don't care if this house is on fire. When I come home and say, how'd you call the fire department? Lillian cannot use the phone, right?
It's a goddamn phone.
No, and listen, there's not too many funny comedians who aren't just a little bit off, who haven't been through some crazy wild shit. I watch one of the greatest series that I watch right now is The Dark Side of Comedy on shit. What is it on Vice? It's one of well, because they do the dark side of wrestling, the dark side of football, the dark side of the 90s. So they do the dark side of
I'm gonna have to
comedy.
check that out.
Yeah, and they're doing white people now, but I think they got some black ones coming
Mm.
up. I know they did Artie Lang, they did Andrew Dice Clay, Roseanne.
Well,
And
they say a comedian is, I mean, he's the embodiment of drama. They said
Yeah.
comedians usually are people who are observant. That's why they funny because they observe. But then when you observe things, you notice shit that can have you, think about Robin Williams.
They
You
they
know what I'm
learn they
saying?
learn they learn to turn pain into
Right. And a
funny.
lot of times they're given social commentary. They said the job of the comedian is to show society itself, but in a funny way so they're not
Yeah,
killed like prophets.
right.
Every prophet was killed for showing society themselves. The only reason the comedian ain't killed is because he say it in a funny way. Like how DL Hughley, I used to watch his comedy stand-ups, and he would always have like some political profoundness and
Mhm.
things he'd drop in it, but in a funny way. So they not shooting the messenger or killing the messenger. I think Chris Rock had somebody had a stand up called "Kill the Messenger." I can't even remember.
Messenger, yeah, it was. I think it was Chris Rock. But okay, so when you talk about even the comedians we've had on here, actually, I'm a connoisseur of black stand up. And we had Chastity Washington on here, and she talked about the pain, the shit she went through growing up in the hood during the crack epidemic, and watching her mom struggle and this and that. And she said her pain is one of the motivating factors when we had the brother Travis Foster on here. Look from the hood. Shout out to Trav. He's still doing his skits. He's still doing his thing. He talked about the craziness, the insanity, the dysfunction in his family. And that kind of drove him towards comedy. All of us, no matter who, it's one of those foundational Black American things that you have a family member who can absolutely turn any room inside out.
Yeah.
They will come there and sit down and start telling stories. I don't care. Even the old people, the kids laughing. I got some uncles that'll sit down and start talking, and you ain't gonna stop laughing until they leave. And you probably still gonna be laughing when they gone. Cause they gonna
Yeah.
talk shit and they gonna talk about growing up in Jim Crow, Mississippi, and how poor they was and how he used to get beat. And I mean, I got an uncle who talks about his own dysfunction to the point where it's like Triple X ain't even the rating for it. Well, he'll talk about himself, like, boy, let me tell you what I used to do when I first got to Detroit. And you go from there, it just goes downhill. Like women get up and walk out the room like, oh no. And he don't stop. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. He'll tell you, I don't give a fuck. That's like,
Right.
but he's funny as hell, though. He's funny as hell. And he don't even care if he's telling the truth or not. He'll tell you, say, Uncle John, ain't how you say, oh, shit, well, I lied. Goddamn, you know how niggas do. We lie sometimes. I'm like, dude, for real? He's just funny, man. He don't care. Tell him something in confidence and leave. Before you get out the room, he's telling somebody else and he's laughing about it. Right? So, right. But it's hilarious how he does it. So yeah, comedy, man. And sometimes I guess we've been saying, well, it ain't no limit. There's no line, but there is. There's like you got to. It ain't what you do, is how you do it. And once again, when you start bringing
How about
children
this?
into it,
Unless it's a roast.
okay, yeah, a roast, go, yeah.
This nigga, they go in on them
Because they
roast.
know what they signed up for on the
I
roast.
watched one where they roasted him and Smith, man, and they got on Michael Irvin ass. He was dead.
You ever
Man,
see the
y'all gotta
one
look
where
that one up. That's gotta be the funniest one I done saw.
it's
Jamie
this?
Foxx was hosting it.
Oh,
Man,
see, that's what I was about to say. The Jamie Foxx one when Doug Williams was bombing, and
man.
he
Oh
he
yeah, yeah. That's the one. Yep. That's it. That's it. That motherfucker. How you on the side of the stage, right? And you fuck this motherfucker, fuck the comedian show up, the motherfucker that's got the stage. You fuck his show up, make him
yeah,
quit instead of
yeah,
fucking.
that shit was wrong there, but it
Let me
was funny.
You know what? That's an urban legend. I've seen follow-up videos on YouTube where they went and caught up with Doug Williams today. It's like Because some people said that ruined his career.
It
He
did.
actually, he actually still had a pretty good career after that.
No,
But
he hosted like
he got comic viewers on. I don't know if
I
that's
never seen him again.
Russell Simmons, the shit. He
Hey,
did
I never
he
seen
did.
him again after that. I thought it was over for him.
no, he did Def Comedy Jam. I mean, he bombed that night, but you know, comedians do.
Right.
They
Like
bomb sometime, yeah.
He went. He's done some things. Like he talked to. They showed him with his family. He's like, yeah, But he was like, for me, the only thing was the way Jamie did it seemed personal. So a lot of people, he was like, I get it because as a comic, that happens. But the way he did it and where he did it at made it seem personal. So I had people who was like, well, you should, whoop his ass or whatever. And so you go look it up. Go look it up. But you're right. Have you ever seen Richard Pryor, the roast
I
of Richard?
seen that one. That shit
Yeah,
was
that was
hilarious.
they went in
And
on
then I
that
think Paul
one.
Mooney, he was
Every
getting
day all
Paul
gay.
Mooney
They all
was
gay.
Richard Pryor did Paul Mooney so bad. I said, whoa, he basically just outed him. Like,
that shit was hilarious. Paul didn't care. Like Paul, like
there
that
was
shit was
cocaine
hilarious.
involved. It was cocaine.
Out of himself
John
too.
Witherspoon was there. Like I didn't know John
Yeah, he come up.
Witherspoon wrote for Richard Pryor.
Oh yeah, he was down with them for Robin Williams was too. He was with
okay.
them back in that whole little clique out there in LA. They all came up under I say Hollywood. They all came up under Richard Pryor. But I tell you another one. Flavor Flavs was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
It
They
was like
made his kids cry.
Black Crispy, whatever they went in on Flag.
Yeah, they reared him so bad
Yeah.
it made his children cry. I think his children left or some shit.
Well, it's acquired taste, man. And one of those things where if you're sensitive, what my mom say, tender-headed. If you tender-headed, don't come in here, right? Because, it's uncomfortable, right? Who was this? Ace Cooley said, he said, did y'all see Obama toast Donald Trump? I didn't. I didn't watch
see that.
I went past it because I know that they got their portrait unveiled at the White House. Michelle and Barry got their Barry keep a low profile.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Don't hear much from Barry. Barry living good, man. He like roll another one. Back here, kicking it like a motherfucker.
He played his part, sent them drones, and now he chilling.
Well, you didn't have to bring that up. Nobody was referring to that.
I mean, they all have their reason on why they're placed in the White House.
Well, they call it Zionism, and so Barry got pretty deeply invested with the Zionists. And if I get too political, I lose. Hey, if I'm not political enough, I lose people. So
I grew up listening to John Hagee, man. He was, man, we gotta help the children of Israel. Give them praise and glory to the Lamb of God. John Hagee used to stay trying to rile people up on Israel's behalf.
Yeah, man, and that's a deep conversation that'll get people all riled up, right? Like when we were talking about the interlopers in the community last week with Sean Moore, and he was making a point about the people who come into our communities and take advantage of us basically, and I was saying a great majority of those original people were Palestinians. And if you know your history, you know that the establishment of what today's Israel was taken from Palestinians.
Mm-hmm.
And so where did they go? Where those refugees came here. It's just like now with the Ukraine, where there's Ukrainian refugees here, but nobody's talking about the fact that Ukrainians are fundamental white supremacists.
Yeah,
they are. They wholeheartedly support Hitler and neo-Nazism and all this kind of stuff. They're some of the most racist people in the world. And so when we start seeing incidents start to pop up, we don't gotta look far. We don't gotta say, why is this happening? Well, because you let all these crazy neo-fascist Ukrainians in the country. So
look at Africa. Look at Africa when they let Leopold in.
Right. When they let anybody in.
History repeat itself, right?
Man, did they
better learn from it? God damn it.
And if they hadn't let them in, and we wouldn't have these great foundational Black Americans. Outlaw Radio, man. Monday night. Live from the basement, man. Oh man, I'm Kevin Barnes, man. I got my co-host with me. I was just chopping it up about some stuff, man. We were off. We'll be back Wednesday, with another episode of Outlaw Radio. If you are interested in promoting something, you got a business, you're looking to sponsor something to get your name some traction. I'm not saying we are CNN, but hey, we do okay. We ain't necessarily Tubi around this motherfucker. So we want to do business with people. We want to promote you. We want you to be able to come on and put your product. So hit us up, man. Share the show. Share the show. Share the show. That's all I ask, right? If you want to call in, the number is 262-202-5131, 262-202-5131. Cash App and the phone numbers run across the bottom of the screen. This shit ain't free. So I ain't he put his Cash App up. You goddamn right. Because I can pay for every switch I hit. This motherfucker it cost me a nickel every time I hit something down here, right? TR Arthur said, I also like the one when they roasted Justin Bieber. They got him good, especially how he was tearing up hotel rooms and how his neighbors was upset because he was doing something to his mansion and the monkey he had. It was too funny. Yeah, roast. Roast get off in your ass, man. Your drama comes out in the roast.
Ain't no holds barred in the roast.
Right. And it's designed that way. That's why I say, like, like I said, my mama say, you tender-headed, don't sit in this chair. Because I'm gonna pull all the naps out your head. And then we had this extension of this conversation, and I don't know, this conversation keeps coming. Maybe somebody can help me understand this. Now, Fat Joe, who's, for the most part, accepted by a lot of hip hop fans as, he's one of the OGs in the game, one of the big dogs. I personally have never bought a Fat Joe album. I've never bought a Fat Joe single. I speak English, so I've never really gotten to the deep Latino side of rap. I do understand that Latinos have always been very heavily involved, in particular Puerto Ricans. I don't know about Mexicans, but I know Puerto Ricans have always kind of vibed with us on the hip hop thing. But there's this discussion of who created hip hop, which is funny to me because I'm like, is that where we at? Are we running out of shit to talk about? Shout out to Crystal Ship. She said Control C in the building. She said salute to you all. Shout out to you, Crystal. Shout out to you and Control C. Control C and the Sherman Phoenix. Y'all better get with them.
For sure.
Get with them. But okay, so why are we having? It's like why are we repealing abortion? Why are we having this conversation now about who created hip hop, or did somebody help Black people create hip hop? So many people now are throwing their hats in the ring, saying no. Well, hip hop borrowed this from us. We gave that to hip hop. We were at this event with hip hop. And I'm like, is this really just really about snatching something from the hands of foundational Black Americans? Is that what this is about? Right? Like, so we talk about hip hop, we talk about rap music, right? This art form that for a very long time, and I know it doesn't seem like that now, was entirely ours. The individuals who ran the independent Black labels where the music came from were us, because other people, other organizations, other corporate entities didn't believe in the validity of the music. So it was up to us to get the music out here. That's why a lot of early rap labels, there's some drug dealer somewhere in the chain to say, nah, I'm gonna get y'all this, because back in the days when studio time was very expensive and equipment was very expensive, it wasn't something that you had access to in the hood. But on the flip side of that, when you look at any music, Jews who were with organized crime and Italians who were organized criminals always had a hand in the music business. Go look up Sam Cooke and what happened to him. I'm just saying. So you gonna say, well, they ain't drug dealers. Well, so did you all, right? We know how motherfuckers used to shake artists down, right? We seen the five. So when it comes down to now, we got to go back and revise who helped co-create hip hop in America. I think this is ridiculous. And I'm looking at Fat Joe sideways saying, what is your point for this? Because I can guarantee you, we've giving you more support of your music than Latinos have. I mean, I think Fat Joe is so, a lot of Black, I wasn't one of them, but a lot of Black people have purchased his music. They've gone to his shows. They've supported his, what his campaign. So I'm like, what's the point of this now? For you to do this now? Why is this coming out now? And then now you got the newest thing is Italians saying, no, we was involved too. In New York early on, we was involved with hip hop too. And so every race, Busta Rhymes said that the Jamaicans and the Caribbeans contributed and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, Okay, why is this? Go ahead, Kamar. You said you had an answer for me.
No, you said who helped co-create hip hop? Nobody. You know what I mean? But us. I mean, you look at Curtis Blow. Then back in the day, you know what I mean? They was rapping on the street corners and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, now, okay, you look at, like you say, people who were in charge, you know what I mean, of the record labels and all that type of shit. You talk about the people, even on the NWA move, was that the NWA I'm thinking about? But anyway, somebody knew they had to go find, or the Wu-Tang now. They knew that they had to go find a Jewish motherfucker to go talk for them. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So, like, it's different shit that, you know what I mean, we used other people to help us, you know what I mean, achieve what we was trying to do. Latinos, you can't say them. You don't see no videos of Latinos rapping back then. You know what I'm saying? Hell, they didn't even know what we was rapping about. You know what I mean? It was just us. This was something that we developed. Cause you talking about, you got the DJs that was making the break beats for them. You know what I mean? You look through the history, you don't hear about a bunch of other people. You know what I mean? Back there, that was the DJ.
They're in New York, because in New York, the Puerto Rican population and the blacks usually were kind of lumped into the same kind of neighborhoods. There's some early pioneering DJs who were Puerto Rican. There's some early pioneering break dancers and break dance crews who were Hispanic. There's some graffiti cats, legendary. You know, and that's part
I
of
think
it.
a lot of that party came later.
It's right. Okay, right. That's where I'm going. So this is like the tree's planted. It starts to grow. It grows branches. There's leaves on the tree, and it produces fruit. Right. So, you know, hip hop, the creation of the music is the roots. The music being the tree, and then the graffiti and the clothing and the DJing and all that kind of stuff is the branches and the fruit, right, that it produces. My question is this: if I start a business today, and I start this business out of my garage, and the business starts to get big, and I hire a couple Puerto Rican dudes, or a couple of Mexicans or whatever, what have you, and they work for me. And once I get big and my company is established, should they be able to say we co-founded the company with them? No.
No,
You just worked. You worked at my company early on. You didn't
right,
co-found shit,
right.
right? Oh, it was
It's
with you.
your company.
Right,
The
right,
key word is your company.
right. It's my company. Right, right. So uh, here's the deal. Like, yeah, there's been some contributors, but the elements of hip hop that make it great, that took it from a dude like Kamar said on the corner just rapping, throw some change in the hat. You know, hey, remember? I don't know if you old enough, Rel, to remember the Blue Blocker commercial with the dude who played the two
Yeah, I remember
rap about blue blockers, right?
that.
On Venice Beach in California, which is how a
Uh-huh.
lot of MCs got started back in the days, just out on the corner in the subway stations, right?
They was
Right.
just kicking it with each other. You know
Right,
what I mean? It was just a past. It was a pastime. They was having fun.
but it's I
It
think
was us turning. It was us turning shit into sugar. You know what I'm saying?
right. That's what I'm saying. I think the black people, like you can't name anything greatest in terms of hip hop, and it's not a black person. There's no the greatest producers, the greatest rappers, the greatest producers, the
What
greatest
aspect of hip hop was he referring to?
the establishment of it.
So is he talking about the DJing or rapping aspect or the breaking? Like, cause hip hop is a culture, so it's
Mhm.
like, as far as the DJ, and that came from the Jamaicans. As far as the
That's a
rapping,
misconception as well, though.
huh?
That's a misconception as well, though.
As far as the DJ,
The DJs didn't come from people think
well, I
that.
mean the setup of the big ass speakers and stuff.
Okay.
That was the dance hall shit.
Okay. Right. Right.
The
Right.
big ass speakers, the turntable, and somebody on the mic. But then the rapping came because it's a dope ass documentary on YouTube
And
that
it
just
talks
came.
about Hollywood. Yeah, with the first dude in New York who was into the big club DJ who would talk over the instrumentals.
Right, and it was talking about how that even rapping, what we call rapping today, that came from them cats on the corner talk about I'm so bad I slap a wave and
Right.
and then that here come the judge and all that shit.
Mhm.
that evolved into the lyrics or the lyricism of the MC. But as far as like the setup of the speakers and shit, that was, them island cats brought that.
Just the speakers, and I don't necessarily know that they brought it to America, but just the speakers, if we're gonna say, well, big ass speakers, but
Okay,
the
yeah.
actual the art of turntablism did not the two turntables
Oh no,
mixing.
that's American. That's
That's
black folk.
foundational Black American.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. That the DJing is
Right.
actually black folk,
So maybe if
but
you say, well, we get to speakers like them Jamaican dudes get,
yeah, yeah.
that
Well,
don't mean they
that
co-created it.
whole
Hey, and
the
again, you talking about, you know what I mean, in the origin of hip hop, what were they talking about?
it was a
They were
message
talking
to the
about
people.
our lifestyle.
Right.
You know
Right.
Well,
what I'm saying? They
right.
was talking about where we live.
Right. It evolved from that. I mean, into that, but at first it
How
was
they was
just
talking about how we party.
right.
Well, we talking Rail's talking about signifying, and he's talking about, especially a lot of cats from the 70s had this thing where they could pop. I could, chew up railroad ties and shit out steel. I
I want to
slap.
learn that shit. I
Oh,
wish they
it's
bring that back, man.
if you ever run into one of them old cats who could do it, it's very entertaining. Pimpin' Ken was very good at it, like with what Pimpin' Ken used to do.
Yeah, he's still cold.
What he still would do, he still can do. I
Right.
should say. But yeah, that and like I said, I got an uncle who does it. Like
Yeah.
he can do that where he'll say, "Yeah, man, let me," and you be like, "Oh shit," that is an extension of like put the beat on and do it. Oh, because
Right.
early rap records was "I'm so cold." What did Belly Mel and all these dudes say? We were rapping about rapping. That's what we
Right.
were rapping
We
about.
Yeah,
We
we
were rapping
started rapping about how cold our DJ was.
about
yeah.
right.
Then we started rapping about how nice we are on the mic.
Who
And
got more
then
girls, and I got so much
right.
juice, and I got so much money, and eventually it goes from that to, what's going on in our neighborhoods, and that's all
Right.
foundational Black America.
Right.
So everybody want to come in now and say, hey, we helped y'all with that. If you don't get your ass out of were there some Puerto Ricans who came to some parties? Of course. Where I absolutely remember some Puerto Rican dudes. I'm saying they're Puerto Rican because I'm dumb. Latino brothers here in the 80s when the thing that could dance, that could do the whole. We used to be like, damn, they dance like them dudes from New York. Because we couldn't do all the shit. Then you spin on your back and all that, helicopter and
And
all
you
that.
know, and then now you're talking about where other people started getting involved in the hip hop.
Right. Because the crazy thing is, when I was in middle school, it wasn't black people I seen breakdance, and it was the Mexicans and the Hmongs
Okay.
in they big ass jeans and they beanie hats. The Jankos, whatever them shits was
You call them
called,
skateboarder jeans.
with the chain, with the wallet and shit.
They was
You
wearing
know.
bands and we used to laugh at them. Why you got them piss wipers? Right? Piss wipers. But you know what? That was kind of after we had moved away from
right.
all
But
that kind
that's
of stuff.
what we do. We
Right.
create shit and
And then
go
we
on
move
to
on.
something else, and then other people come in and do their thing with it.
Right. I bet you right now there's way more white dudes who can tap dance than there is black dudes. Because we created that shit so long ago and it was the thing to do, and we just moved on from the shit. And they was like, this is beautiful. We're gonna keep on doing this. Let's teach this, right? Like it's like, yeah, you leave scraps. Don't mistake me giving you a hand or an opportunity to participate as you co-creating. I guess that's what I'm saying. And nobody's here to deny that it ain't been some Latinos who've made some contributions. Fat Joe himself. If you talk about Cypress Hill, there's been some
Mm-hmm.
Latino dudes who came in, did made great contributions. Nobody's trying to
Definitely,
take that away,
definitely.
Right.
but don't try to come say you. And what's the point? What is the point? There's no check to be had. There's no retroactive payments to be made. They'll always say Cool Herc and that house party in New York was at the start of it. We even know that there was hip hop in New York before that happened. There was DJs
Mm-hmm.
in New York, some of them who had bigger sound systems than Cool Herc. It's just this particular party where that spirit kind of finally everything came together. It was the perfect storm where people say, you know what? This shit is now finna be a thing, really, really finna be a thing. So I remember, early on, and they used to call the shit jungle music and monkey music and all that. Even uppity black people used to say, I don't like that rap shit. The old black people had
Hey,
that.
remember a house party? Nobody want to hear that old hippity hop.
Right. Get them up. Public, get them up.
Shout out to Carl Witherspoon.
John Witherspoon, been in that ball, man. Pause,
Yeah.
pause, nutty buddy, I should say. You know what? Pause. I'm just going to leave the word nut out of it. Double pause, right? But yeah, man. So get off that shit, Fat Joe. Stop it, man. Because if you're going to go there, then you want to start talking racially, then you shouldn't be allowed to use the word nigga as much as you do. Because technically, you're not a foundational black American. You're trying to give up your seat on the bus trying to crusade for the mother. You dig what I'm saying? So your next album, put it out in Spanish and release it in the Latino communities and see how many records you sell. Right? Come on, son. Stop it, Fat Joe. I mean, come on.
I think there's like only 2 songs that I could say I actually listened to of Fat Joe's, and it ain't, I can't say whether he's a good rapper or a bad rapper. I just never had the desire. I listened to. I mean, that Lean Back just used to come on, but I like that beat. And then he had that song with Ashanti, that What's Love, that had a cold beat.
Okay.
And her. But otherwise, I didn't listen to Fat Joe. I listened to Pun. Like when I first seen Fat Joe, I thought that was like Pun's manager or henchman or something because he was in the videos holding the umbrella over Pun and shit. Now Pun could rap like a motherfucker. Like
Pun was bad.
He's actually colder than a lot of people would give him credit for. But
because he didn't live long enough.
Right. And a lot of people wasn't even put up, but I didn't really hear Fat Joe rap until shit, I can't remember. I thought he was like DJ Khaled before DJ Khaled. I thought he just owned like the Terror Squad and all the people under him rap type shit.
Well, I'm old head, so I go all the way back to Flo Joe and Digging in the Crates when he was with, because I used to like Andre the Giant and AG. Was Andre the Giant, what was his DJ name? I can't remember. But I used to like the whole Digging in the Crates crew with Lord Finesse and DJ Premier. I was a hip hop head, right?
Okay.
Like the youngster, right? And so like my early teenage years was the golden era. When we start talking about 87, 88, I'm 13, I'm 14, and I'm, so this music, that's why I take hip hop so near and dear. Here was my formative years.
Right.
Talking about this music, and I know who was what, but I agree with you. Actually, the Fat Joe songs that I listen to are some of the shit he did lately. It's some of the shit that because I lean back, I'm like, I don't do radio hip hop. Right. The Ja Rule shit got a little old for me. I'm just like this pop shit. I'm not cool with that. But this All the Way Up, I thought was a good song. And he had another one. He had another one with Cardi B, which I thought was dope. I can't remember the name of it. And then, like you said, Big Pun. Like I was like, I like a couple of the songs Big Pun did. So, and nobody's trying to take anything away from anybody, but I just want to know why it's so important for everybody to try to discredit foundational Black American. Why is this everything about no, we can't let them shine? Why everything that like in this country becomes anti because it's just about we got to keep niggas in their place. We can't let them get too hype about it. We can't. And the shit we did create, you usually give it or attribute it to somebody else. You're talking about Black man inventing the elevator, air conditioning, the way you take blood plasma, right? Like the way you separate blood and plasma. We start talking about all the important inventions that Black men actually did make and create, including the code that we are also in love with on the internet right now, HTTP, right? They don't give us credit for that. They just keep they keep us out of it. And then, the shit that it's undeniable, say, nah, Black people did that. Well, we helped them do it. So it's that bullshit. I just need I need Fat Joe to lean back. I need him to lean back. Let me see what else we got. I know some other stuff I want to get out. Let's see. We talked about the Illinois thing. The $2.5 million. Oh, shout out to Washington High School. They got approved for a $2.5 million renovation of their practice field and the track and the basketball courts there. I coached high school football at Washington for about 4 years, and there's potholes in the field. And we used to complain as coaches, and like we would have JV games there. We had to put cones in the holes on the field so kids wouldn't step in the holes and hurt themselves. The track was raggedy. The basketball courts, I'm gonna tell you like this. My son at the time was younger, so I would be coaching. He bring his basketball and be like, "Dad, can I go shoot around?" I say, "Cool, get your ball out the car, go shoot around." The rims was so bad that every ball he ever shot up there when we got back in the truck to go home, it was cut up. It was cuts in it. It was big. We call them tits. It's because the rims was so raggedy they would just destroy the balls. And so I think it's very, very positive that they're getting that. I'm glad that they are redoing that field, man. And sometimes people got to understand when you inject positivity into a negative situation, it brings other positivity with it. So to build something in a neighborhood that's just crazy. That's a crazy neighborhood. Trust me, I've worked over there. Um, it's a crazy neighborhood. A lot goes on over there, and so to bring some positive and say this is a crowning jewel of the community, a crown jewel of the community, I think is good. So shout out to them. They said it took 7 years to raise the money, which is crazy, because you look at the condition that field and those facilities have been in for so long. You say, how did it take 7 years? And just as I'm an old school MPS football player, so all the facilities now are upgraded because they redone Custer. They've redone Pulaski. Tech has a field. They got theirs done. I'm hoping Marshall gets some done because I'm hearing theirs was pretty bad, but I think they were already working on it. They actually built a new stadium at Vincent, right on Vincent's campus. And so there is some facilities coming along now because my son plays in the burbs now. And so when we go to any school, they have their own shit. When I played, we had to share the field. Like, what we gonna play at 4:30, and then when we leave in Washington playing Tech after, we had to do that. No, these schools. I go to these schools now with my son. Good Lord, don't go to Greenfield, Greendale. It looks like a college campus. It's so huge. It's so sprawling. I look. I say, our kids don't got a chance. This no wonder. You go to Homestead. You go to all man. Come on, man.
I remember we had to go to Germantown to wrestle, and I remember they wrestling mat came from the ceiling, and I'm like, oh shit, they take this shit serious here. They was some big ass corn fed dudes too in Germantown, man. But dude, they wrestling mat came from the ceiling. They had cheerleaders that sat at the edge of the mat, patting on the mat, saying little hand shit. I was like, damn, they take this serious up in here.
Yeah. I mean, once again, my son, his freshman year, he had a basketball game, Greendale. I go out there. I get to the camp. I'm like, what the hell? This is a school. It's a public school. Like, what? It's not fair. It's unfair, the facilities that they have. And we as parents, I don't know if we pay enough attention to it. I don't know if I think we could make a lot more noise about y'all just throw any old kind of shit at these kids. And so salute to all of the city conference players, man. I played in the city conference. I got up out of here. Helped me. It was a springboard. And I know it's some brothers, and they get discounted for playing in the city conference. You get no respect. The programs ain't as developed as other places, but I'm glad it's still a heartbeat there. Like I said, I took my son out. He plays in the burbs. Some dope film on him too. That boy can cover. That boy is a shutdown corner, and he plays safety. Hey, look, you better go watch the little videos I put up. He's doing stuff.
I'll be catching.
Yeah, I watched them.
I'm trying to tell you, man. He has seen him do some stuff the other night. I said, you know what? It's something there right there, but that's some good stuff. So shout out to my son too. He gets his thing done, man. Their team sucks, but just as a
why you say that, man?
record wise, I mean.
Okay,
no, they're all good kids. They kids, man. They kids, they're not an elite program, but he has just, but he's been doing this for a very long time, and he's been around. He's a coach's son, and it's in his blood, right? So just to watch him kind of stepping into that, I'd be like, okay, because I was a big lineman, just head buster, smasher. He's a cornerback and a receiver and a safety, so he got them foots. He get little, got them wheels on him. Byron Terry said, blessings, these are the breaks. Somebody brought up Curtis Blow. Ace Cooley said the DJs came out during the house parties. Byron Jason, clap your hands, everybody. That's the kind of shit we just throw something simple. Throw
Yeah,
your
God,
in
that's
the
why I
what
air.
it
said, man, we talked
takes.
about how we party. You know what I mean?
Right.
We talked about our life, man. That's what we do. So how can anybody else say that they had a hand in starting hip hop?
Right.
You know
Like,
what I mean? Yeah, okay. A lot of people they got a hand. They had a hand in helping it grow, but
there's been
we
some, yeah,
started hip hop.
right,
Right.
right. Yeah. Because who else said throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care? Like, that ain't Latino. That's foundational Black American dialogue,
You
right?
know what? I used to hear a lot of more so Latins when Hot 102 was a thing, and you'll hear a lot of like Lisa and Coat Jam, or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that music. I don't know what that music is called. Maybe that's house music, but that I'm wondering if I take you home. I can't call it hip hop.
Pop,
I don't know what that's.
pop.
Pop. Okay, that's where I used to hear them at on Hot 102 with the shit you could break dance to, or
Mm-hmm.
Lisa and Coat Jam.
I cannot believe you brought up Hot 102. That is crazy.
You remember that shit?
Oh my God, man. What are you talking about? Like, I tell this story all the time. Hot 102 is the reason why I wanted to be on the radio growing up.
Oh, word?
I,
Oh, okay.
I used to listen to Hot 102, man.
Hot 102
I knew all the
Milwaukee.
DJs'
They
names.
they started out. They started out. It was a black station, and then I think
Oh,
they
word?
switched up or something. Yeah.
That was
It's,
disco, and then it became they put the hip. It came R&B, but it was like top 50.
yeah.
They played everything at one point. Like, you'd hear
Yeah.
rock, and then you'd hear rap, and then they moved more towards black music, and then the rap music got them put off the air. They've been doing alternative rock ever since. It's like the 90s rap music got their ass shut down. Ace Cooley said they do that because they're not here to fight white supremacy. They're here to compete with us. Byron said equal competition is the goal. Why not let me compete? Equality matters. And Tiarsha Arthur says Sugar Hill, Friends, how many? Houdini.
That was Houdini. Yeah, yeah.
Dave TJ and Rockman Jr. I believe those was 860 DJs, like WNOV. I just remember being a youngster listening to WLUM Hot 102, and I used to be in awe of how they would talk and then do commercials and then play music. In my young mind, I didn't understand that they had.
What was that dude name? Shit. Cause all I remember is Lisa Coat Jam and that dude, because I love you. What Stevie B or something like that.
It's been some Puerto Rican, yeah. I mean, yeah. Once again,
But that was still that pop thing. That was like
well, it was
that side.
Lisa crossed over, but I think she was aimed to be hip hop R&B because Full Force was producing
They was
her.
writing for it. And
Right,
right,
and producing.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but you've had some Hispanics jump in the game and make some songs and have some hits. Like, damn, I'm just like, wow. You know how people, it's easy to just come in and try to shit and rain on a black person's parade. WMSE, yes. Shout out to Keith Terry, who owns 3041 North, who I remember he was my best friend's big brother. He's like my brother's on the radio. He's jamming KT. Byron said it, Funky Fresh Friday with jamming KT. And I used to listen to it, was hip hop. That's the only way you can get rap music in WNOV in Milwaukee for a minute. But I'm saying, like, I just was so amazed at this when I was little, and I used to think, man, that got to be the coolest job in the world to get paid to just talk all day long. I guess that can't say what kind of strange, weird kid I was, but I used to listen, man. I knew the number. I could never get through. I would always want to call and request a song. They would never let my little ass through.
That's how I used to be with
man.
the box, man.
Hey, you trying to hear yourself on the radio? Like,
man, I wanted to come on and request Prince or some shit. It was like that long ago. And then what got me away from the radio was my mother bought me, and this people won't say he on some bullshit. He trying to be. I'm not. This is a true story. My mother bought me my first record. It was Run DMC's first album. And at the time, King of Rock was out, and I couldn't decide between the two, but I had heard King of Rock just from being in the neighborhood. So I got the first album, Rock Box.
I love that song. Still.
I took it to the man. I knew that album like from first song to the end, and it
can't wait to demonstrate.
Well, that's King of Rock. No, that is Rock Box. That is Rock Box. But it had CDs. It had Hard Times. It had all that stuff on it. But you're right. Yeah, rock box with the
Yeah,
rock on it and all that.
DMC was always my favorite. Like DMC used to come so hard, man.
I used to think Run was the dude. I used to
Word
thought Run
for
was the
real.
man. Yeah,
So
Run.
why you sucking MC's perpetrating the
Run, Run just seemed cooler. Even in Crush Groove, Run had a better role. Like he got the girl. Well, no, Russell got the girl.
right.
Right, Blair Underwood got the girl. Russell would have Blair Underwood play him and shit. Like, no, you play me. Right. Play me in this movie. But no, so yeah, I once again, hip hop for me is that's why when I see all this bullshit, I'm like, I feel like any attack on like real hip hop is kind of like saying something. And it probably ain't that way, but I feel like it's saying something personal to me. For real, because I just it became my music. Once my mother bought me that album, I steered away from the radio and started getting my own music. Like I start, buying records and tapes. I go to Audie's records and tapes on Capitol before it came Audio Vibes, and I would get an album every week. And so Boogie Boys, Run DMC, Houdini, all of these, I still got the albums. I still got them sitting right here in my house. So my daughter always trips off of it, like, I can't believe, Dad, you still got, like, yeah, my mama saved them from a house fire for me. So shout out to mama. Carl Morrow on 98.3. Yeah, 98.3 came in later though. 98.3 came when we was little. All we had was WNOB and Hot 102. So yeah,
right.
Yeah. Man, it's been I wonder. It's some funny shit. I don't know why are all celebrities going like to try to do celebrity boxing now, and they end up getting their asses erased. Adrian Peterson got knocked the fuck out by Le'Veon Bell. Did y'all see this shit?
No, I didn't see.
He hit him so hard he was asleep on his feet for a minute. Like I said, damn. And then what's the other boy? Nick Young. He done got his ass knocked out the ring. What my man Nate Robinson last year when he got put to sleep.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why athletes always be like, you know what, I'm a box now. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, and then they always get their ass knocked out. It's like, you still gonna box, motherfucker? Like, it's crazy. I've seen that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the Packer game. I gotta say this. I gotta talk about this, right? Share the show. Hit share, hit follow. I gotta let people know this. This is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? This is Packer country. Well, regardless of how you feel about it, this is the pro football team in this state. We supported this team when they wasn't shit, when they didn't win, and it was you didn't even think they had a chance to win. All of a sudden, the tides got turned, darkness, and they became one of the better organizations in the league, right? There's a lot of built-in hate and contempt for people who support the Packers. And football fans, let me say this. First of all, it's one of the greatest things about football, but it's also one of the worst. Football fans are some of the most passionate individuals, like real football fans. Their teams are their teams. You can't tell a motherfucker who love the Dallas Cowboys shit about the Cowboys. You can't tell a Bear fan shit about the Bear. And I don't care how much they suck, how much they choke, how much they lose. I watch football games. Motherfuckers is getting their ass whooped in the parking lot, all in the stadium. People getting knocked out. I'm like, what is it about this game that get people so riled up? The Packers go to Minnesota, they lose. Man, Facebook was lit up all night. Oh, you Packer motherfuckers. Oh, Packer, whacker, hacker, Packer. But it's built-in contempt because normally a person who hates the Packers, they're usually a big fan of a team that does not win. And I feel like there's a certain set of envy when cats go in. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is a $50 million a year cocky ass Northern California white boy. Of course he's arrogant. Of course he's cocky. Of course he is. But he's also one of the coolest motherfuckers I done seen in a while throw a football. I mean, he lost in the playoffs. He also has a Super Bowl ring, which a lot of great players don't have. Right? So I feel like a lot of cats who be hating on him have a team that they cheer for that has a suck-ass quarterback. I hear Minnesota Vikings, they were happy yesterday, rightfully so. They kicked the Packers' ass. We knew Devontae Adams dipped. We knew you don't just replace this cat, right? It's going to take some time. It's a process. But these motherfuckers was jumping around like it was like the second coming, and they've never even won a Super Bowl, right? They have never even won one, right? So but you can't tell their fans shit. The Bears right now beat the 49ers. Bears fans have already said they going to the Super Bowl. They know it's over. It's the fuck the Packers done. I'm just like, wow, people go crazy, right? And so I just think, but with Packer fans, it's different. For some reason, it's just like ooh, we really hate to hate you. We really love to hate you. If you say, nah, man, I'm from Wisconsin, I rock with the Packers. Because look, I like the Packers, but you never see me with a jersey on. I don't have any apparel. I like the Packers because I grew up liking the Packers. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that was the team my daddy sat me in front of the TV and said, watch this if you like football. And I said, oh, they horrible. But I kept watching, right? I learned the game from watching them. So, I just feel like, man, let's try to listen, off of football, there's fantasy football, there's Madden, there's Las Vegas is lit up now with betting for football. They don't even hide. They get the lines on Sports Center now. Football is bigger than anything in any other sport in this country, and it's the most violent, aggressive, destructive, dysfunctional thing that you can possibly get involved with. But it's so beautiful, right? It's just a game where, as you say, to knock somebody out is a bonus for you as a defensive player. Like, oh, he be knocking people out. I love dude, right? Like, it's like being a comedian, because to play football, you got to be a little dysfunctional in the first place. I don't know if anybody's ever really looked at the concept. Hey, see dude over there? Yeah. Go run into him as hard as you can and try and knock him down. Okay. Right? So most great football players, we a little off, right? We kind of like some shit that's strange. Like, did you get him? Yeah, I think I broke his leg. Good shit, dog. Huh? No, it's not good. And we raised. I've coached youth. I've coached high school. When my son played, I used to tell him, "You knock a motherfucker out today. We'll knock a nigga out today." Dysfunctional, but I love it, and I love football. It's just crazy that the NFL has some social justice issues, so I don't watch all of the games. I normally only watch the Packer game. It's a shame that they have to get their shit together with Colin Kaepernick, so I can't watch all the games. It has its flaws, it's like anything else, but I love the game because it saved my life. With that said, if you a Packer hater, fuck you. If you, I just gotta say it. Like, come on, man. Like fuck you, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like telling me you don't like, my neighborhood or some shit. Fuck Capitol Drive. No, nigga, fuck you. Right? And people say, damn, Kev, you put it on Capitol? I put it on Capitol. It's like you walked up and nigga, fuck Jackerson. I'll be like, oh, ass nigga, fuck you. So when you say to me, oh, man, fuck the Packers, I'll be like, fuck you, and I'm not on the team. I'm just a motherfucker to be like, mine's yours, mine. I just want to get that off my system because my boy was bad enough we took an ass whooping, and then I had to hear all this bullshit from people who teams ain't won shit in years and ain't been nowhere near what the Packers have been. So, fuck y'all if y'all don't like the Packers. I'm gonna put it down like that. Tiarsha Arthur said the Cowgirls fans always, yes, they do. The schmears, the crying lions, the sick ass, gay ass, choke ass Vikings. I can't say gay ass, can I? I can't say that. I can't say gay ass Vikings. I can, but I could get canceled. Ace Cooley said you got to realize we've been sweeping the Bears and Vikings for the last 3 years. Over the last 3 years, the last 12 years has been all Packers. I get why they so envious, but damn, your skirt's showing, man. Tuck your skirt, son. Tuck your skirt. Now I don't know who y'all support football wise, but I mean, what y'all think about this Packer hate, man?
I don't pay attention to them, man.
Okay.
I don't pay attention to that shit. You know what I mean? I think that's part of what sports is about too. You know what I mean? The different teams, the divisiveness of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is my team, that's your team. You know what I mean? So like I don't pay no attention to this shit, man. I just go watch the game.
It just seems like it's just
I
more.
don't let it move me too much when they win. I don't let it move me too much when they lose. You know what I'm saying? I just like to see a good game, man, with the team I've been watching my whole life.
I could dig it. It just seemed like it'd be more personal with the Packers. I just feel like it's more personal. I feel like the hate is just really.
and Cowboys fans. I see a lot of cow motherfuckers shooting at Cowboy fans on my timeline, right?
People do hate Cowboys. They do because they so delusional. Yeah, and it's just yeah. You right about that. Yeah, but like my shout out to my homeboy Roger Zeladine, West
Hey,
Side
but they
Zeladine.
really suck. I said they
My
really
partner,
suck
he is
every
a
year.
Raiders fan. You can't say nothing about no Raiders. I mean, this man he get emotional arguing about the Raiders. I'll be like, damn, cuz isn't that the Raiders and the Lakers? He's from LA,
Damn.
but man, I'm talking about this man. I don't even have to really say nothing. He'll come over and we'll start talking football, and I'll just say some shit like, so the Raiders are gonna win it this year. He'll just go all okay. I get what you're saying. Like I just asked you a question, bro. Like it's that man. I don't know, man. Uh, um, Ace Cooley said I'm with Kev. Fuck them Packer haters. I embrace it because we be lighting their asses up. Even if we wasn't, it'd still be like I'm cheering for the home team, man. I'm 4-1-4 strong, right? We riding with our shit up here. We riding with our shit. You either with us or you against us, man. That's all I got to say about that. Packers and Cowboys fans failed this weekend. I lost bread. Yeah, we both got our ass kicked this weekend. So, it was like a lot of happy people because a lot of soft suck ass teams won. But it's all good. It's only game one. Hell, they moving it up. They're gonna be playing 20 games pretty soon. They playing, I think, 18 now in the regular season. So a lot of football left. We'll see who be laughing in December. Right? We'll see how it go. And Rail, I would just assume you don't even you don't pay no attention to it. Like,
no, man. I
yeah.
just laugh at the people who talk shit to each other on Facebook. I usually see Cowboys and Bears talking shit about Packers. It's comical to me.
Oh
It's
my God.
entertaining.
I mean, the level, like, it's not just saying I don't like your team. It'd be a level of disrespect. Like Packer supporters do this and they have memes of it. I'm
Yeah,
like, man,
yeah,
why
it get personal with some people, man. That
like
should be
why is it
hilarious.
like that, man? So yeah, man. Fuck y'all, man. Go somewhere, man. Sit on and spin. Um I'm just like I'm being just as bad as them, right? But I'm trying to justify it, right? Right. I'm doing something that's really not something that foundational Black Americans do. But so yeah, man. Y'all got anything coming up between 9 Wednesday? Kamar, I know you be on your horse. What you got
Um,
popping?
yeah, tomorrow I'll be at Alice's Garden. Thursday I'll be at the Black Chamber of Commerce's third Thursday thing at Skybox,
Oh, okay.
and Saturday I'll be at the Fondy Market.
That's what's up.
Running it up, running it up.
Rail, we trying to get Rail's TikTok popping. Rail, what you say it is? What's your TikTok?
Higher frequency, same as my business name. So HIGHERFREAKUENCY.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, man, support these brothers, man. Support the show. Share the show. I just ask that you share it. Just share it. Well, like we'll do the content part. Just share it. Because our numbers we should get way more traction than we get. Once again, I take responsibility for it because I've been dealing with some medical old man type shit, but I'm coming up out of it. I'm coming up out of it. Like, right? But they say tough times don't last, tough people do. Right?
Right.
A setback is a setup for a comeback. Right? All those cliches are thrown out there. I want to say to y'all when I stress about being a foundational Black American, I think it's very important that we differentiate ourselves from everybody else, right? Um, um Ewok said it sounded like my feelings hurt. That's a Bear fan, right? So I'm gonna ignore that comment. I'm gonna ignore that comment. He's a fucking Bear fan. So I called him last night to congratulate him. His ass didn't answer the phone. He and got drunk and passed out because he was so happy they ain't won the first game in years. Okay, but back to being a foundational Black American. I feel like it's time for us to really grab hold to our identity. If you don't like being called Black, you don't like being colored, you don't like being called African American, right? Let's find something that we can all identify with. I feel like foundational Black Americans explains our whole path in this country. I feel like it states exactly who we are. Foundational. You understand that? Foundational. That word is very powerful. And it's very important that we seek out and find our own identity right now. One of the biggest problems that we're suffering from is we just don't know who the fuck we are. And we don't understand our greatness. We don't understand that when we do encounter with some challenges, right? We can overcome them. We've spent years and years and years overcoming adversity and persevering. They have tried every single solitary thing they could do in this country to eradicate us, and we've only gotten stronger. We've only gotten stronger. Now, statistically, it looks like we've gotten weaker. And sometimes I'm a statistical dude, right? Like, so I deal with a lot of qualitative or quantitative data. So I look at it a lot of times, and I understand the statistics aren't people, and people aren't statistics, and statistics can be skewed. I understand that. Some of it's real though. When you look at the situations in our community, those percentages are what they are. There's no arguing with them. But I think it's very important that we figure out who we are, right? I think it's time for us to take stock of where we're at in this country. It's time for us to look at our souls, our collective souls as Black people, to say, this is what we're going to take and this is what we ain't going to take. What we ain't going to take is subjugation. What we're not going to take is inequality. What we're not going to take is lack of empowerment. What we're not going to take is being discredited for things we created or pioneered in this country. We're not having that shit. It's not going to happen. We're not giving up shit, right? When we talk about the power that we lose in this country, and specifically on Outlaw Radio, we say how much power is taken from you versus how much you give away. We ain't with giving away power no more. As a matter of fact, we're about reaping and growing and developing our power to get it back, to developing our foundation to get our power back. We're reclaiming our power. What she say? Reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. I'm saying let's reclaim our power. Because once we really start to move as a unit, can't nobody really fuck with us. This is what made hip hop so great, because we all unilaterally got together and said, as a generation, and said, this is the shit. We don't care if you don't like it. We don't care if you don't understand it. This is what we rocking. This is how we gonna move. And nobody could stop it. The shit took over the world. Now, if we applied the same energy to other things in other areas, imagine what kind of traction we would have and what kind of planet this would be, or what kind of country this would be. So it's very important that you know who you are, because you end up being lost. I looked at Stacey Dash, and I looked at the Cuban Sammy Sosa, who for some reason is like beige right now. I'm looking at individuals who want to bleach their skin or do things to their face. Black individuals, they get lost. They forget who they are. They forget where they come from. That's why Lil' Kim is walking around looking like a Cupid doll, right? Because we get lost and we start fucking with shit that shouldn't be fucked with, i.e. our noses, our lips, our cheekbones, our asses, our stomachs, all this kind of shit. We don't do that shit. We don't have to, because we're people of the sun. We're sculpted and molded in the image of the creators. You should know that about Black people. Now, are we all, I'm God? I don't know if you're God or not, but I know
You
with
are.
with what you've been blessed with in terms of your biology and your physiology, it's otherworldly. It's extraordinary. Y'all better go back and listen to George Clinton in Parliament and start laughing, saying they was all on drugs. They don't know what they're talking about. Start listening to what they're saying to you about us and who we are, right? So you won't end up like Stacey Dash. So you won't end up like Sammy Sosa, even though he's Latino. I don't know what the fuck he is now. He's truly a other when you check it off on the application. The worst thing you can be is lost, right? If you know where you at and you struggling, at least you know where you at and you know which direction to head in to get out. But if you're lost, you don't know which way to go, right? So this is what my point to everybody is we don't expect to solve the world's problems with a podcast. We just like to have a conversation. We don't try to tell people what to think or how to think. We just want them to think. As long as you thinking, you all right with me, even if you don't agree with what I said, because it ain't really about all of what I say. Don't get me wrong. I'm right most of the time with most of the shit I say, right? But it's okay if you don't agree. And you have a home, you have a place you can welcome. Your opinion is welcome. So I just want to say peace and love to everybody who supports the show. I feel like when we had a conversation about trending in the wrong direction, I still feel that way, but I also felt what Kamara saying, Kev, you got to look at where some motivation is in our community for a group of people who are seeking out some higher knowledge and some understanding. Once those people are empowered, they're going to pass that on to other people, and that's going to build a community, a new community. Totally understand what he's saying, but sometimes I'm an asshole on purpose. I said all that to say, man, if your criticism of the Black community outweighs your contribution, You're surely not a foundational Black American. You are a coon. We'll see y'all Wednesday
Peace.
night.